Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the P-LotPodcast. John here, joined once again by the main man himself, Michael Angelillo. The P-LotPodcast, the podcast where we never act like Karens when we don't get a fly ball.
Home run ball. Yeah.
Home run ball, excuse me.
Yeah, that was, if anyone tuned in to the Phillies game, or if anyone happened to be scrolling on probably any social media and you have some sort of feed that is adjacent to sports, you definitely saw the behavior of the one Phillies fan. That was pretty embarrassing, because the only way I could ever be on her side in that situation is if, like, she had the ball in both of her hands and was, like, lifting it back up, and the dad, like,
Ripped it
just
out of
ripped it out of her hands. Like, that's not cool. That's really messed up. Can't do that. But the way it all just looks is, it looks like they were all reaching for the ball, and he just got it first and then gave it to his son, which I did think it was funny that he put it in his son's glove and hugged him like a human shield. And then that woman was not thrilled. Very bad look. But shout out both the Phillies and the Marlins, actually, hooking them up with some game memorabilia and stuff after the game.
When I saw the headline on X, screw it, not calling it X, we're calling it Twitter. We're calling it Twitter. They're slowly converting me. No. The headline was, Phillies fan tries to steal foul ball from fan. Like, they try to make it like the little boy was a Marlins fan.
Yes.
And those, us evil, diabolical monster Philadelphia fans. No, it was Philly fan on Philly fan crime is what it was.
Yeah, no. And, like, just, I don't know, Marlins sent him, like, a gift basket, which, like, do you think she left after that, or do you think she stayed the rest of the game?
I heard she
Because
got
I'm
kicked
trying
out.
to imagine, like, oh, did she get kicked out?
I think they were booing her out of the stadium.
I don't know if she just left on, like, her own, like,
power.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
she got
I'm
injured, like she
imagining
got chucked in the head, got out left under her own power.
I'm imagining, like, the Marlins usher or whatever coming in and, like, giving the, like, what, because they look like they're very much in the same row, or at least maybe one row behind. We're, like, walking down the aisle to give the kid the, like, little gift bag right in front of her face. What the, ugh, like, disgusted. But then got to, obviously, Bader hit the home run ball, so meeting Bader after the game, gave him a signed bat, little picture thing. So good on the Phillies, good on the Marlins as well. Shame on that lady, I have to say. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about it, and if that was me, where, like, I really felt like I was robbed. Like, that was right in front of me. I was gonna get it, and some guy came and stole it. I'd be, like, pretty pissed, I think, but I'm not. I'm not running down, like, 12 seats to
Yeah,
go
bro, this isn't
berate
like
him.
Zach Hampel stealing the ball.
No, and again, it's not like she was like, "Woo," and he ripped it out of her hands. Like, she went over there to berate him in front of his family, his wife and children, and then the dad was like, "You know what? Here, get the away from me." Like, and I guess she was very, very
I
happy
feel
about
like
that.
if that happened in Philadelphia, that lady might have gotten clocked.
I think she would have been shamed. I think she would have been shamed to give it back or leave.
Well, dude, I mean, you were there last year at the tailgate when that guy almost drove through our tailgate. He tried to act like we were hogging all the
Yes.
spots, and then
Yes.
he was
Yes. 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 Yes.
publicly shamed when everyone started pointing at him and saying
he was publicly shamed. That was really
they were
funny.
all pointing at everyone around us, had our
I
backs.
was
They
like,
were like,
whoa, what was that?
they were like, dude, what? Like, they're like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Oh yeah. All right. Anyways, enough of an aside. Let's talk some Phils before we get into some of the
Right.
action that's
So,
happened the last few
yeah. So,
nights.
Michael, obviously, we did the show last Saturday. Unfortunately, they lost Sunday night against the Braves.
What are you gonna do?
It's like what? Like I was like, I don't even remember the last time we've had a 4-game series sweep of the Braves. It's not.
4 game series sweep of like a good team. I can't. And like the Braves aren't even a good team, but it's like a team with good players, I
Well,
guess.
I mean, it's hard to sweep it. It's hard to sweep a team in a 4-game series, even if they're like
It's
the
it's
worst team in the league, like
it's
one of the worst team. It's hard.
it's pretty hard to sweep even a 3 game set if we're being completely
Yeah,
honest. But
and I mean, let's be realistic here too. Like the bats have been a little cold. I've been cold a little bit. Obviously Monday's game, well, they were not cold. It was your birthday this past Monday, Michael. So
it
happy.
was, and thank you. Uh, well, listen, it's been a good week. Monday. The Phillies Brewers game on Monday was probably like the game of the season in terms of just like battling and entertainment purposes. I think if we were
It's going to be
objective
a highlighted
baseball
game of the
fans,
2025 Phillies yearbook, I would say, when we watch a rain delay
yeah,
15
yeah,
years from
like like Taiwan was having some trouble. All his outings are pretty much the same, but it's like, can he avoid the home run? If he avoids the home run, he'll probably give you 4 to maybe 6 on a good end innings with like 2 runs or less. Gives up the home run, you're pushing 4 runs, whatever. But the Phillies battled. They've battled like they kind of battled all year, I have to say. Um, and then, when the bullpen kind of gave in, but it was still tied, the Phillies took it back. It was very back and forth, very entertaining. You look at those win probability charts, there's a whole snake going up and down. Came out on top, which was really, really nice to see. You took 2 or 3 from the Brewers. You took 2 or 3 from the team with the best record in baseball, best record in the National League. Like, it was
well, not just the
it
team with
was
the best
very,
record in
very
baseball,
impressive.
but they've been the hottest team in baseball for the last 2 months.
And it's best team in baseball, like, it's by, like, a few games, It's not like, oh, by a game or whatever. Like, no, they have a bit of a lead. I think they're, what, 4 up on us and the Blue Jays, tied for the second best record in the sport at the moment. So, really impressive win. I guess the only concern is Nola, but I don't wanna get too much into that. It's just like we just know. We know what it is. He has to be good, and we know what he looks like when he's good, we know what he looks like when he's not good, and I don't like thinking about him not being good again.
Yeah, I think I think obviously, like I said this 2 weeks ago. Like Alec Boehm and Aaron Nola need to show up in the playoffs, and I feel kind of bad saying that about Nola because I think his playoff failures have been a little exaggerated because he has been good and has other good playoff moments. Like Alec Boehm
Mhm.
has like 0 good playoff moments. It feels like maybe I'm wrong.
Uh, and, like, he hit the home run in game 7, which is cool. But, like, my point, like, he hasn't really done it for a series. There's not been like, oh, Bohm's been like so reliable, so trustworthy in the series. Like, no, that has not happened. His best series was probably like the World Series, and he wasn't like that good. It was more like, oh, if this went to a game 7, I would have trusted him to get a hit or something.
Right,
Like,
but I feel like
right.
in a playoff game, if Aaron Nola pitches 5 innings, gives up 4 runs,
Mm.
and then the bullpen can shut it down from there, like the Phillies should be able to score runs.
It's passable. It's not what you want, but it's passable for sure. Where, if Bohm's just gonna be a series where he's like 1 for 25, like, you
Or
can't,
again, like I'll give you an example. It's so Thursday, Phillies are up 1-0, insurance runs on third. Bum can't get it home. You were pissed. You were super annoyed. It's like stuff like that where it's like, he's down and batting in the seventh spot. So with the
Eighth. He's
top of
batting
the
eighth,
lineup,
John. Eighth.
eighth. Oh, I'm sorry,
Eighth.
eighth. So yeah, like, dude, like,
Get the
it's
run home.
dude, it's starting to feel like now that, like, well, I'll get to this talking point in just a moment. It does feel like Brandon Marsh has been playing so well the last 8 to 8 weeks that even when there's a lefty on the mound, you just deal with it.
Yeah, I see that, but honestly, I don't hate the fact that it's still a platoon. Like, I guess my biggest concern if you do starting him just all the time against lefties is like if he doesn't like he just doesn't hit 'em. He's hitting like 198 against them this year with like a 500 OPS barely. It,
It's the
it
fact that Nick
just
Castellanos is hitting the exact same thing right now.
right. But it's like I don't want to kill his mojo because we're going against the team that has back-to-back lefties pitching, and he goes 0 for 8 with 6 strikeouts, and it's, like, ugly. I get it. I do think Weston Wilson's defense in left field is just not very good, and that has kind of feels like every time he's out there, there's a play where it's not necessarily an error, but it's like, it feels like if Marsh was there, at least it would have been cut off at least, or maybe it's caught, like that sort of thing.
It
But
does feel like Brandon Marsh. He's a guy that just should have gotten more playing time earlier in his career. So now a lot of his issues that he's currently working on, like, I don't know, like they could have been ironed out maybe potentially.
maybe he's like
I
a
mean, he was
career
considered a
like
top prospect, Michael. It's not like this guy was some bum that the Angels just found, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna ship him for Logan O'Hoppe," like.
no, he was a failed top prospect that they were like, you know what, but like he's been in the league now. This is his 5th year, and his career splits against left-handed pitchers. He has a 791 OPS against righties, and he has a 574 OPS versus lefties in 5 seasons of work. Like, I mean, we just can't hit lefties. Yeah, it is what it
Almost
is.
just
Like,
straight out
it's
of bunt. So when they're going against a lefty, you at least make them think like, "Oh crap, he might bunt." Like,
and it's
oh
like,
no,
be aggressive.
as
You get a pitch
opposed
that's
to,
in the
"Oh,
zone.
thank God, Marsh is coming up. He's a guaranteed out now with a lefty on the mound."
I hear you. Regardless of, I think the Marsh platoon is a little less of a pressing issue or even
No,
like a
the issue.
talking
I think
point.
the issue right now in the outfield is that, dude. I don't know if Casty is like on strike. I don't know if he's just cooked. I think he's just cooked personally.
Well, yeah, probably. But like, I wonder. It looks like at this point it's a pretty strict platoon, where right-handed pitchers are on the mound. We're gonna see Kepler in right field every time at this point. It's 3 or 4 games that Castellanos has sat, um, and I just don't know if he's earned the right to play, and he really hasn't. And Max Kepler gave a pretty insightful interview after the game yesterday, where Max Kepler had a pretty big game. He had the home run, had another RBI hit later in the game. He said, like, they asked him, you got 5 outfielders essentially, Scott Fransky being nice, including Weston, who all want to be out there, all deserve to be out there. How do you guys handle that? Do you talk to everybody? Like, do you guys all talk about it? Like, what is it? And Max Kepler said, I talk to everybody, and I think we're all on the same page. We all have an understanding here that yeah, it's not easy for any of us, but we know the bigger goal here is to win a World Series, and if we want to win a championship, we all have to put our egos to the side, and do what's best for the team. He said, I had to do it a few, like a couple few weeks ago or whatever. He said earlier in the season he had to swallow his pride and just keep showing up and doing what's best for the team. And honestly, the Max Kepler redemption story could not be like any better. Like when they signed him, this is what I had envisioned. I was like, listen, this is a guy that outside of last year has always had like really good peripherals, whatever. And he was so down in the dumps. These people wanted him. These people wanted him DFA'd months ago, and for like month-long stretches, wanting him off the team, wanting him
What
off
do you
the
mean
team.
these people? You were a little like John, like
It got listen.
you're
It
like
got to that
John, like
point for me.
I can't keep
I was
justifying throwing him out there at the when he was at
yeah.
his
You know what?
lowest.
I'll hold myself to saying I probably wrongfully gave him so much credit on that Mason Miller home run. Like, that carried a lot of goodwill for me through most of his bad, and then towards the end of his bad, I was still I did turn, and I was like, "Listen, if he's gotta go, he's gotta go." But I gotta give credit to the Phillies. They didn't cut the ties. They kept pushing. Usually, they're not afraid to cut the ties. I know some people
You're
like to
right
think the
because
opposite,
I
but
thought he
they're
was
not.
going with Merrifield, where he's a guy in his early to mid 30s, played a lot of baseball, just was cooked.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
even look at what they did in 2022. I mean, how I think people forget the 2022 opening day roster had Didi Gregorius starting at shortstop.
yeah, he was
People
cooked.
forget that they cut Didi Gregorius late in the season, that they cut Odubel Herrera late in the season. Like, I think people sort of forget that those two guys were getting pretty regular playing time throughout the course of the year. And they were like, we don't got to do this anymore. They got Brandon Marsh, gone was Odubel. They called up Bryson Stott, gone was Didi, by like August. And I thought, like you said, with Merrifield, felt like Kepler was on his way out. And credit to the Phillies, they hung on, and it's as of now paying dividends. And it feels like we're in a situation where you know, we got a nice platoon going. Gotta give Castellanos, like, he's gotta stay locked in, man, because we both know for a fact there's going to be a spot late in the playoff game with runners on, and they're gonna bring in a left-handed reliever for Max Kepler or like the Marsh Kepler part of the order, and Castellanos is gonna have to come in and pinch hit and do a job, and I can't have him like moping and pouting around like, oh, I should be playing. Listen, man, I don't think there's anyone that would rather you be in the lineup than Rob Thompson. I could guarantee that Rob Thompson would love to be able to pencil you in hitting 4th or 5th and playing right field every single day and not even have to think about it. But it's the fact that you're playing so bad that he can't even justify it the way that he did in 2022. We all forget how bad he was in 2022 and that he never left the 5 hole the entire season once they kind of set the lineup and especially for the playoffs. He didn't move out of the 5 hole and he was putrid. There's nothing Thompson would want more than to be able to do that. But you are so bad that he can't even justify that. That's like, you need to really check the ego and just be talking to Kevin Long, be in the batting cage, whatever you got to do. You need to be a productive hitter when you're in the lineup, and you're such a bad fielder that you need to be a productive hitter, and he's just not even close to that.
I do think I think what I've noticed or what I've read is I think Nick Castellanos views himself in the same light as like Schwarber, Turner,
Yeah,
and Harper.
big contract veterans.
Uh-huh. And because of his struggles, the fact that he's being benched, I think he's one, you mentioned ego, but I think two, he's probably thinking like, well,
Hmm.
Trey sucked ass his first year here, and he stuck with them the entire time. Why
He
am I
had
the
an
one being
eighth.
punished? That's what
They
he
moved him
thinks.
down to eighth. They moved Trey down the eighth. It took him a while, but they did.
Yeah, but he was still
And
playing though. That's the thing. Now it's sort of like I think Castellanos, and you see like his sister, like it doesn't help that his sister's tweeting out saying
not his
like,
sister, it's his wife.
"Oh, that's his wife."
Yes.
I don't know. I think the whole honestly, I think Castellanos was a popular player because of I don't want to get into this. Like, he
Attitude. He's got
well,
that
no,
that
I
edge
think
to him.
because he brought like Liam, everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cute, that's great," and then like his sound bites were great, and now that he's struggling, we got the portion of our fan base that's just straight up ruthless and they don't care,
Yes,
you know.
yes.
and now I think it's affecting him. And I think now it's like I think we're headed towards a divorce, not between Casty and I mean like the Phillies and Nick Castellanos. It looks
Yeah,
like
no, I feel like I'm at a point I would really be surprised if he's on the opening day roster next year. Whether it's they attach
it's
some
insane, man. If I told you a year ago that Taiwan Walker would have more value to the 2025 Phillies than Nick Castellanos, you would have probably looked at me like I had 10 heads.
It's true, man. To be fair, I do think both of them get moved in the offseason to help free up some cash. But I think we're at a point where like a B-level prospect or
Well, I
so
think
is getting
Taiwan gets
attached.
moved in a trade. I think Cassie's released, or they do a
Yeah, like
buyout.
my thought is I think Taiwan can get moved for a team that wants him. A team that's willing to be like, you know what, I'll take the mid to back end rotation guy
He just
for a year.
screams Kansas City Royals. Phillies eat half
Sure.
the contract.
Castellanos is getting if he gets traded, the Phillies have to like attach a prospect to him, to get a team to eat the contract.
Guy got to throw in like Gabriel Rincones to get someone to eat.
Something. It's just like
That's
it's just
brutal.
super frustrating just to get him off the team. Yeah, no,
Sounds like he's an Oakland. He
it's a
sounds like he's
shame.
going to be an A. I mean, I don't even know. They don't even have a city at any whatever. Anyway, let's just kind of keep going here because we got a lot of football to talk. I want to talk about some other Phillies things too. I mean, last night bats exploded. Right? I know we're talking about everyone's talking about the home run ball incident. Listen, Michael, we were talking about this Marlins series that's coming up, and we were kind of like, these aren't going to be free wins because the Phillies,
No,
it feels
yeah.
like they always struggle when they go down to Miami. It's the NL East wheel of death.
Well,
You
it's
know,
this time of year too. They always go to Miami right when
they
football
knocked the
season's
Phillies out of
starting.
the playoffs in 2020. Remember Miguel Rojas, that effing loser, was just like mocking what Ricky Bo said about them.
Yeah, no, like
Which
it's
Ricky Bo was correct, by the way, in saying. I mean, it was bad timing,
sure,
but his
sure,
take
sure,
was
sure.
overall was correct.
Yeah, no, they go down to Miami late in the regular season. It's always dicey. The Marlins, while they have been playing generally better, they kind of fallen off from when they were like really playing better. That one stretch of baseball where they were only like 5 games under 500. Like, yeah, they've fallen off that, but
Yeah,
they
they
still
remind me of like the 2017, 2018 Phillies when you had Reese, Knowles, a
they
couple
have
really
guys
good
like
players, and then
yeah,
just garbage.
yeah, and
You
like
know,
Sandy Alcantara's seemingly figured it out. He's pitching today against Luzardo. Um, they're not. They got players, and like if Kyle Stowers didn't, he's hurt right now. If he didn't get hurt, I'm pretty sure he's hurt. Am I wrong on that? He's starting his rehab assignment. Yeah, 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 yeah. If Kyle Stowers isn't banged up, the lineup is actually like it's not terrifying, but it's like they can put up some runs.
yeah, Cal
But
Stowers, he'll probably get traded in the offseason because the Marlins are a joke. If we're being
well, yeah, but these aren't easy wins, and show up and take care of business like that. That's what you got to do. Christopher Sanchez threw a breezy 82 pitch, 7 inning outing, didn't break a sweat. Like, that's perfectly fine with me. Tanner Banks comes in a meaningless low leverage situation, so he doesn't care when, we know he's probably got the biggest balls out of the bullpen, Tanner Banks. So he comes in an 8-run game, gives up a 2-run homer. Big deal. Who
Well,
cares? Um,
did you
you
notice
know,
as soon as Alvarado got suspended, I would say the biggest benefactor of that whole situation, I think, is Tanner Banks because he stepped his game up and now he's like, I know, like we were like, oh, we're gonna get Alvarado back. Will help us, secure the division. Dude, I would say right now, this bullpen right now with Robertson, I know he struggled in Monday, but he's overall been very good. Tanner Banks
mhm,
has been very good. I mean, Joan Duran. I mean, do I really need to explain how good
yeah,
he is?
right.
Um, like Matt Strom has been
Listen,
very
John,
good.
my list of trust when it comes to the playoffs. I don't even count Duran in the list of trust because he's on like they're just not going to use him outside of the ninth, which like it's fine, but whatever. Outside of Duran, it's literally it's Banks, Robertson, Strom, Kerkering in terms of the trust tree with the bullpen. And it just is what it is. It's a shame that Kerkering has fallen from grace, but when you're not getting whiffs, especially on the sweeper, and it's like
I think
your only hope's
his
the
Mets
strikeouts,
appearance. I think when they put him out in the Mets, you and I were texting each other like this is the worst possible person to throw out here because he can't
it's
miss
like
bats with
it's
the
my
bases
point is
loaded,
like
no outs.
I think it's just Rob's just seeing. He's like, listen, man, you got to show me that
That's
I
what I
can
thought it
trust
was
you.
as well.
And
I
then, and
thought it
he
was
and
a
he and he
legit
didn't.
straight up like, okay, he might have said, Skip, I want a bigger role. I've been he's like, all right, I'm gonna bring you in here. Let's see what you do. And
I mean, I don't think he asked for it. I think it's just like Rob's trying to figure out who his fireman is. Who, that was Jeff Hoffman the last couple of years, and he was so great at it. Who's the guy you're bringing in
an old school
when?
term, by the way. That's what they used to call guys in the '70s. They wouldn't call them closers; they call them firemen.
Listen, it's I guess the way it's aged differently is bringing them in as early as like the fifth inning. Like who are we bringing into a game if Nola in the fourth gives up a walk and two singles and there's only one out and it's like I can't do it. It's Tanner Banks right now. And like if it's not Tanner Banks, it probably should be David Robertson. And I think that's just kind of it. Like those are the two guys I trust the most at this point to get outs with runners on base. And not, you know, not allow the inherited runners. I mean, Orion Kerkering is allowed like what, almost 40% of his inherited runners this season. That's inexcusable, man. Like, I if I'm bringing you in with a runner on second, you can't give up the blue pit. Like, I know that's frustrating, and it's like, what are you supposed to do? It's like you're supposed
Well,
to get a
to
strikeout.
circle
Like
back
that's what
to
you're supposed to do.
Cassidy, you showed this to me. The Phillies have like cumulative like -12 like runs saved, right?
Defensive run saved, yeah.
Right? Or -10.
Negative
Cassidy
10 as a
overall
team.
is -12. So by removing him,
They're
it's a net
+2.
+2.
Yeah,
Which, great
yeah,
mathematics on your part, Michael. I'm glad to see you're putting your master's degree at work there with
yeah,
that.
yeah. But it's so true. But like, it's I don't know. They're a good team. They're a very good team, even without Wheeler. As much as it hurts, they're probably without Wheeler. They're still probably better than the team in 2022. I'd say. Um,
I would agree with that. I do
yeah.
think though. So I there is. I am
I
intrigued
mean,
by. Well, we didn't even talk. Let's wrap this up by talking about the Phillies. Late season additions, we'll call them. So the Phillies acquired the services of two pitchers,
three
most notably.
pitchers:
Oh, three pitchers.
Lou Trevino,
Ah,
Tim
that's right.
Mesa, and Walker Buehler.
I saw Fritz tweeted out that Tim Mays is like this year's Scott Aaron. He's kind of right.
Well, Jack played him in college. I think Tim Mesa might have thrown a no hitter against them.
Yeah, Tim Asa is
In
the
the
dude. If you play
PSAC
MLB The Show, he's one. If he is like a 95 overall card because of his goofy, like
delivery. Yeah.
delivery.
Listen, though all three of those guys are probably going to be on the playoff roster, or at least a couple of them. Bueller is interesting because he's pretty terrible. Like cut and dry. Walker Bueller is awful.
Yes.
The last two regular seasons has been really like unpitchable. But he has really good playoff numbers. Has given up like one earned run in like 20 World Series innings. Was awesome for the Dodgers in the playoffs last year. Has been really good his whole career in the playoffs. That's like we're picking up a guy that we know at least the moment isn't too big, and we just hope this stuff plays. But I do think people forget he had an awful outing in the division series against the Padres last year. He just pitched stupendous in the championship series and against the Yankees in the World Series. So that'll be a guy that'll be interesting if they feel like they can't trust Nola to start a game. I feel like they're gonna go and start Walker Bueller, unfortunately. Like, I say unfortunately because I want Nola to be that guy, but if they can't trust him, I think they might throw and take the shot at Bueller if he looks somewhat feasible, um, in these next few weeks of the regular season. I think, he's pitching today in Lehigh Valley, and they've already, like, penciled him in to start on Friday against the Royals, so we will be seeing him up in the major leagues in about a week, and we'll see how he looks from there. But between Mesa, Trevino, and Bueller, I do think that's a pretty significant improvement to guys that you can get low to medium leverage outs for, as opposed to Jordan Romano, as opposed to Joe Ross, as opposed to, you know, potentially like Daniel Robert. Like, I think Max Lazar could be one of those guys that also gets replaced. Not just like totally poo-poo Robert Lazar like Seth Johnson or whatever, but I think they just I think they would just wanna have options. They don't wanna be, like, handcuffed to the idea of, like, "Okay, we're going to have to throw Daniel Robert multiple playoff innings to get relatively important outs." I don't think they wanna be in a position where they have to do that. I think they'd feel more comfortable if it was a veteran like Trevino or Mesa or even Walker Buehler. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. It'll be interesting to see in a division series if Nola's a part of the starting three, like the three starters, or if they're just going to go with the three lefties. If they're going to start Nola but have him like piggyback with, say, Ranger or Lizardo. I don't know. We will. We'll have to see. Obviously, a lot can change from now until October, but um, as it stands, it feels like those were just pretty nice reinforcements to have.
I agree, and I think also too I think you might need to carry as many arms as you can in the bullpen for the fact that look, I mean your playoff rotation right now. I think it's Christopher Sanchez. It's weird. The Phillies have three lefties that these right now are their three best pitchers, starting pitchers. Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, and I think Jesus Luzardo because Jesus Luzardo, big balls
He's
guy,
been awesome.
big balls guy. I mean, like you're not playing the Pirates in the postseason, where he's getting
No,
blown
and I
up.
think he's figured it out. Like when he was bad in that stretch, it was very much mechanical. Like he could not get remotely comfortable pitching out of the stretch. He was so in his own head about it. It was all terrible. They finally found something that works with his delivery out of the stretch where they get it pretty similarly to like his windup, where he can kind of cover the ball and it doesn't feel like he has to consciously hide it. Um, and, like, when he doesn't pitch great, it's just like, well, we have to all remember, he was acquired to be the number 5 starter on this rotation who we felt had pretty decent upside, and,
Yeah, but
the
when
upside is
Jesus
shown.
Luzardo is healthy, he is most teams a middle rotation guy. You know,
Yeah, he's a great 4, he's a very good 3, and he's like a fine number 2, you know? And you're asking him to be like your 2 or 3, obviously, with Wheeler. Um, but, like, when Luzardo's good, like, it's hard to visualize better looking pitchers than when Jesus Luzardo is pitching well, you know? Like, he's pretty dominant when his stuff is popping, so we'll see. I think they still have the firepower to do it. Obviously, no Wheeler is gonna forever be, like, the hardest pill to swallow, but they're hitting, man, and they're they have the pieces. They have the pieces to go on the run. It's just a matter on if they're gonna do it. So, let's pivot to some football. Let's get into
let's go in chronological order. Let's talk about the
yeah,
Eagles game, then let's
let's
talk
get into
about
what we saw.
the Friday game, and then we'll do the picks, and then we can wrap up the show. We got a lot of
Mhm,
football to
mhm.
talk about. Okay, Thursday night
Yeah.
football. Well,
It was a
well,
game that occurred.
the presentation for the second Super Bowl the Eagles have won in their franchise history. That was nice. It
Pretty
was
cool.
nice. And
Pretty
then
cool.
And then 10 minutes later,
all the air sucked out of the stadium. It could not have happened. Opening kickoff, we're all ready to go bananas. Started where it is. Ben Van Sumeren tears his patella tendon, like rips it apart. It's really a shame that he's had these two very like
at
season-ending
least he has a
injuries.
Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Eagles. They were planning on him having a bigger role in the offense. We saw how much they used. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on his name. The other Kylan Granson, right?
One of the
Yeah,
tight ends
Kylan
they picked
Granson.
up in the
We saw
offseason.
we saw how much Kylan Granson got some play at fullback, where like that's just Van Sumeren's role. But the real, burying the lead here, the unfortunate knee tear led to some downtime as they're getting out the cart, and very savvy veteran Dak Prescott
Yeah,
sees
I wouldn't
Jalen
say that's
Carter.
that okay. Yeah,
Listen, I know what he was doing. He saw Jalen Carter, trying to get in Tyler Booker's head, getting a little rookie. Nothing wrong. Dak Prescott sees Jalen Carter, just loosely spits in his direction, gives that little cocky smirk on his face, knowing who he's trying to antagonize, knowing who's on the other side of the field, knowing it's like the best defensive player on the field, knowing it's maybe the best player in the entire game, and knowing that he can sometimes lose his cool. He walks up to Dak, cocks an enormous loogie right on his chest, right in front of the officials, and you're ejected from the game.
So when you see so we didn't know what was happening obviously until we heard it break, and at first we all thought, why did Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott other than him being like a moron? Like I
Mhm,
thought it was like at first I thought it was like the Eagles thinking they're playing like this, like they're Georgia and they're playing like Vanderbilt. So,
mhm,
oh, we're
mhm.
going to be disrespectful then because we know we're so much better than they are.
Right.
As it turns out, as you were describing, a Eagles player's hurt. And, when a player is hurt, you take your own sides of the field. You let, the player's getting attention, the injured player. First off, Dak Prescott, that is a clown move with what he started doing. I know you said savvy veteran move, but Michael, let me,
It worked, man.
Michael, if, let me word it this way. I'm going to change the situation. I'm going to change the actors, right? Same situation though. The the Ravens are playing the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson starts taunting Chris Jones and gets Chris Jones does like nonsense. He gets Chris Jones to spit on him to get him thrown out of the game. Twitter would
Sure.
be in an absolute uproar. People saying all these nasty things about Lamar Jackson, how it's a clown move. But because Jalen Carter got in a car accident when he was in college, and people hate the Eagles regardless, no one feels bad for. And listen, Jalen Carter. By the way, Jalen Carter should not have spat on Dak Prescott. The way he should have handled it is like, okay. He's like, all right, Dak. And he's like this.
Yeah,
Five
we're keeping
minutes.
them between the
Five
whistles.
minutes.
But here, listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We can say Dak's a dick, whatever. Like that's all fine and dandy. You can't be that stupid. Like Jalen Carter,
It's
he
like
needs
Miles
like
Garrett when he swung his helmet at Mason Rudolph.
I mean, I guess. Like it's just like Jalen Carter. Yeah, but it's not like that because this isn't the first time that Jalen Carter has like pushed the bounds of like the rule of doing something that's a little questionable. I mean, the punt in the NFC Championship game that he straight up punches the dude in the face. Like it didn't get seen, and it's like we think it's funny, it's cool, whatever. But like this is just kind of his part of, like people say, it's part of why he kind of slipped in the draft a little bit. Like it just is kind of what it is. he needs to be able to control his emotions a lot better. You're way, way, way too good of a player and way too important to this team and way too important to this defense, as we saw, to get yourself thrown out for something that dumb. Like, it just can never, ever, ever happen. And it's something that it's like the league's probably not going to suspend him. And I don't think the Eagles are going to suspend him, but I don't think it's impossible that this is like an internal Vic Fangio is like, listen, man, he needs to learn a lesson. He's not playing Sunday against Kansas City because that
Apparently,
shit can't
Jalen
fly.
Hurts said something to him after the game and said, "We're now on the same page." I think Jalen Hurts might have told him, like, "Dude, this is it. You can't be doing this
And
anymore."
listen, Jalen Carter apologized. He owned it. Got to give him credit.
He
Does it
did.
excuse it? Like, no, but it's like, I appreciate you not
Like,
trying
I
to
think
be like, well, Dak spit on me
what people
first.
got mad at, I thought, was when he was walking off the field laughing. If he walked off the field, pointed at Dak Prescott, and started screaming and cursing, saying he spat on me first, or something like that,
It's just like
I
he
think
didn't
people
spit
would have
on him.
been
Like, he
maybe
spit
more.
towards him and like had a little smile on his face. He said, "Did you just spit at me?" And then he spit
It is immature.
on his chest.
I
It's
mean, like,
dumb.
is
It's
this? I mean,
stupid.
are we
That's what
making
it
up this?
is.
I mean, right? I mean, like, here's my thing though too, and
Like,
it's
John, if they lost on Thursday, what would we
he's
be
getting blamed
saying?
for it.
Yes, and, like, rightfully so, and we love Jalen Carter's it's no one really when I think of, like, success players playing well, Jalen Carter is very high on the list of it's like, I get extreme enjoyment watching this guy play well.
I
Jalen
said this
Carter is
to our
very high on that
cousin. I
list.
said this to our cousin Joe yesterday. I'm going to ask this to you, Michael. Let's flip the situation a little bit. Let's pretend Micah is still on the Cowboys. What if Jalen Hurts spat towards Micah Parsons and starts jaw jacking him, and then says to him to get him to retaliate, says, "Hey Micah, what happened at Penn State?" And then Parsons spits on him, and then the Eagles lose the game. Are you going to be like, "Wow, Jalen Hurts is kind of a loser for trying to get him thrown out of the game because he's just talking about
Listen,
stuff that happened in college"?
to be fair, I think what Micah Parsons did at Penn State is a hell of a lot
It's
worse than what
way
Jalen Carter
correct,
did at Georgia.
right?
So I think it's a little different. I think if Dak, I do think it's very different because I do think that the Jalen Carter situation, while like not great on his end, is a much more like
Well,
difficult
Dak Prescott is
situation to be in.
considered this like, oh, he's one of the nicest players in football.
I
Oh,
agree. I agree. He
he's
does.
this
He
like
does have.
squeaky clean image where it's like, bro, like
Listen, he didn't do anything wrong, but you just don't really see Dak like talking a lot of trash or antagonizing players too often. And listen, he knew what he was doing. He said, "We went to the sideline, changed our whole game plan. We never want to see a guy get thrown out, but we'd be lying if they weren't thrilled that they didn't have to deal with it." And it made their lives a
well,
lot
Michael,
easier. Listen,
everyone, listen, Michael, like the Cowboys knew no Zach Martin because he retired. That the interior of their offensive line, that's probably the weakest part of their team on offense. The weakest part is the interior of
yeah,
their
we
offensive
can say
line.
it was super intentional. Let's try to get him thrown out or whatever. I think he was probably like, maybe I can get a 15-yard penalty out of this. We said it upstairs. We he would have been better off punching, and we saw it last night, which even confirmed it. He would have been better off punching Dak in the face, and he would have just got a 15-yard penalty. We saw Jaquiski Tart punch Travis Kelsey in the face yesterday, get a 15-yard penalty, and then Tart went on to make like 4 massive bat downs on some Mahomes quick game. Maybe like,
It's kind of
like
messed up
just
where if Jalen Carter would have just like
decked him, punched him in the
decked
face
him
as
for
hard as he
saying
could.
that. I don't know. I think when with Jalen Carter, and you see it like I don't know. I've read stuff. I've been watching like a lot of NFL Network, obviously, because I'm like waiting for the season, and like you see stuff about like Lawrence Taylor. I know you're gonna cringe because he is like a
Well,
very bad human being, by the way.
yes, pretty
But he was
evil.
also a
Yeah.
massive hothead where if like he got in these situations, like Bill Parcells will pull him to the side. He's like, if you get thrown out of this game, he said, just go home. I'm sending you home. If you get thrown out of
If
this,
he gets thrown out again, I do not think the Eagles are going to be very happy about that. But it's like he needs something. They need to send him to like a wellness center to like he needs some internal oming to like calm himself down because he can't it just can't happen,
Well,
dude.
I mean,
Like
Michael,
we gotta remember
when
like
you play a
what
high,
happened his rookie year, John. Like when the Niners were taunting him about what happened at Georgia. And I get it. That's really but he's like welling up over it. And it's a human reaction of course, for him to be acting that way, but you just that in a very competitive spirit, guys are
well,
gonna
Jack's
do
up there
whatever
saying
they
my
can.
boy died.
I don't
Like,
think Dak was saying that. I actually think he definitely was not saying that. Like, that's was not happening. There's no shot that was happening because I think it would've been a lot worse than spitting on him, to be honest. I think it would've been, I'm grabbing his helmet and I'm, like, killing him, like
I mean, you ask me, like, you didn't see many Eagles come out and say, "Oh, what Jalen Carter did was really stupid."
I mean, I think they probably just, like, talked about it internally. They don't wanna make it a
Right.
story. They don't they know what this city's like. They don't need it's already probably a big thing.
Well,
They don't need it to milk, you know? So, alright, we're getting off
let's
while it
talk
is a
about
big deal,
let's talk about actual X's and O's and got because we got
because I'll say this, what's very unfortunate about his stupid ejection is that it made it really hard to take away a ton from the defense, and specifically the defensive line, because like Morris Jomo, I'll say, I have my notes here. I don't think Morris Jomo was particularly great, and I think a huge part of that is he's not playing next to Jalen Carter. Like, we love Milton and we love Jomo and what they were doing. How much of their success hinges a lot on, the fact that they were playing with Jalen Carter. How
oh
much
my
of
god, probably
Javon
a lot, Michael.
Hargrave's
Like, so, like, just
well,
you
it's
can
like
ask
how much
your
of Javon Hargrave's success hinged on the fact that he played next to Fletcher Cox. Like, it's just one of those things where when you have to hyper focus on an interior defensive lineman, on Jalen Carter, the way that Aaron Donald gets attention, whatever, yeah, a lot of guys can kinda tee off, so I felt like the defense, we didn't really get a fair taste on how it actually looked, especially the linemen, because Jalen Carter was out of there. Like, there's no I thought Davis played well, I thought Uche played well, I thought, like, Hunt and Nolan Smith were fine, but again, like, that's not what it's gonna look like on a game-to-game basis because Jalen Carter's gonna be in there, and he wasn't. So,
so
it's hard to get a true takeaway from the
oh yeah,
defensive
like,
line.
dude, like, I pulled up Clyde Simmons' stats. You know who Clyde Simmons is, right?
Of course, of course.
Right? Played with Reggie White. I'm gonna read you
He's the other D lineman on the Reggie White, Jerome Brown defensive
correct.
line, you know?
Let's see here. 1989, 15 and a half sacks. 1990, 7.5 sacks. By the way, Michael, this is when they like didn't throw the ball 40 times a game. They threw it
Right,
like
right,
25
right, right, right.
times a game, right? So way less opportunities to get sacks. 1991, 13 sacks. 1992, 19 sacks. Okay. 1993, this is after Jerome Brown
Jerome
passed
Brown
away.
passed, yeah.
Right. And then like Reggie left. 5 sacks. 1994 goes to the Cardinals. 6 sacks. 1995, 11 sacks. Like, I'm not saying he's a
Not
bad
bad,
player,
but there was a fall
but
off
to
in
your point, like,
production.
bro, when you're playing with a generational type defensive lineman, when people say that, like, look at Aaron Donald and the Rams, like, you don't think guys playing on that defensive line with him, like, got on their knees and said prayers? Thank you, Lord, for me to play with Aaron Donald because this guy is getting so much attention. My job becomes infinitely easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say I agree. Let's talk about pretty much the one glaring negative on the defensive side of the ball,
Can we
was
get into
the
positives
second
too after we kind of bitch? I do
yeah,
want to.
we're gonna complain about this on defense, and
I
then we'll
think
talk about the good on defense.
so right. So Adoree Jackson, less than an auspicious start with the Eagles. I think I turned to you after the second drive. I looked at you dead in the eyes and said, "This guy blows. Like this is bad."
Yeah, Adoree Jackson was not good. He made, I think, like, 0 plays.
So I think this is kind of what happened, and I think he is cooked. is the Eagles and the Fangio defense love running match coverage, and I think Adoree Jackson probably isn't used to doing that as much as he is with the Eagles, and I think he just looked totally lost. And he doesn't have the talent anymore to compensate for that, which is why you saw like CeeDee Lamb wide open.
Yeah, I don't even. I just think I don't even know if it was like wrong spot, whatever. I think he was just getting beat. I just think. Listen, the Cowboys have two really, really good receivers, but there wasn't really one play where I was like, "Oh, Dory Jackson, really good coverage there." It just didn't happen much. That second corner spot is it's gonna be a work in progress. Dory Jackson could be unplayable, honestly. I think Jacorian Bennett only had a few snaps when he committed the one penalty. I think he maybe should get the run against maybe you run a Dory Jackson against the Chiefs again because the Chiefs are, we'll talk about them. But I do think that like it's just going to be a work in progress, and the fact that Keely Ringo couldn't even see the field when Dory Jackson had to get cleared for a concussion.
That's concerning
Like,
for the
Keely Ringo must have had the worst camp, of all time, genuinely, because you think about what they said about him last year. It was during, the Super Bowl week. You asked the DB coach, who works the hardest, who you're most excited for in the future? And, no one could stop gushing about Keely Ringo. It was he works so hard, he's so talented, super twitchy. Everyone was so excited to see Keely Ringo. It was quite literally the reason they didn't do more to try to figure out the Darius Slay contract, because they felt so confident in Keely Ringo. And then camp rolls around and OTAs, whatever, and all of a sudden it's like Keely Ringo is flying down the depth chart and he can't even get on the field. And that's pretty damning. So yeah, they're gonna have to figure out that cornerback 2 situation. But let's get to the positives on the defensive side. I thought the
I want
linebacker.
to work away from the D line back to the secondary. So I thought Jordan Davis.
Okay.
So Jordan Davis, I think we all kind of were like, okay, is he really in shape? Is this gonna last?
He
He
definitely
played
was.
he played virtually the entire game, and besides the two Dak escapes, which you were like, John, this is ridiculous, and I'm like, I think Dak, that's just who he is.
He's good. He's a good
Dak's
player.
probably one of the best in the NFL at evading sacks. That that's a good sign, I think, when who is back in the lineup. Jordan Davis, he looks like the guy that they drafted.
Yeah, just a massive,
Because the
massive
first
human.
drive, the Cowboys ran. I think the Cowboy Javonte Williams had 30 yards rushing. It felt like the first drive of the game, and they only ran for 25 yards afterwards.
The Eagles, they made a big adjustment, especially after the delay, where they ran a lot more 5-man, even 6-man fronts at times to really just kinda take away the run and then take away some of the underneath stuff with a sinking linebacker and then trusting your guys on the back end. But yeah, I thought Davis looked really well. Felt like he looked very much in shape. Very, very intrigued to see him and Carter next to each other next week. So yeah, very happy about that. Josh Uche, I thought he had the most pressures on the team. Um, he definitely he had the highest pass rush win rate on the team as well. He was effective. And then the linebackers, Zach Bond and Jahad Campbell were definitely the best position group, probably in the entire team. Yes, on Thursday. Bond, there's not much to say about Bond. It was just business as usual from what he was doing last year. Just
I think
really,
Miles
really
Sanders'
good.
NFL career is in jeopardy when you follow the sequence where he
You get
gets
hawked down,
he
and then
breaks down that long run, and it looked like he was going for a touchdown. Bond chases him down, and then on the same drive, he fumbles the ball.
for sure. Jahad Campbell, a lot of positives from Jahad Campbell. I want to give him a lot of. I want to say this. What he needs to get better at, and this will come just playing more, is I think it's run defense instincts. It's just kind of his reaction time. He's not afraid to go up and go make a tackle. He was wrapping up and making tackles, which was great. But I just think he was a little slow on his reaction time versus, say, Nakobe Dean, who like Zach Bond is like instantly he's reacting. Nakobe Dean is like a beat or two slower than Zach Bond, and I think Jahad Campbell is like a beat or two slower than Nakobe Dean. And like that's fine. That'll get better as time goes on and the more he plays. But he's still like, while I think maybe he wasn't his best in the run game, he forced the fumble. He got credited for the forced fumble. Like
He's very good
that's
in
great.
coverage too.
That's what I was gonna get at. Like his coverage is incredible. He carried on the play that before they kind of Blankenship got flagged for hitting Ferguson when he went to Ferguson earlier and Zach Bond broke it up. The other side of the field there is Jahad Campbell running in the hip pocket of George Pickens 20 yards down the field. Like, he's sticking with really good receivers, very strong vertical threats running down the field. He sunk into the middle of the field, taking away a lot of stuff from Dak from even wanting to throw it there, and he made some really nice pass breakups too. He's special in coverage. He is like the modern day off-ball linebacker to a T. Not afraid to
Yeah, I have
tackle,
a comp
very
for him.
fast, very athletic.
Yeah, you mentioned this, like how versatile he is in their
Mhm.
scheme. There's a guy I don't even probably know who he is, but he was a Pro Bowler / All Pro with the Niners. Julian Peterson. Julian Peterson. The way that he would be used in the Niners, they would either have him play middle linebacker in some downs, outside linebacker like off ball, edge, and then safety because of all of the things he could do. He was very, very good at several things.
I don't think we'll see Campbell at safety, but I do think we're gonna see him all around. And it'll be very interesting when Dean gets back. We might see a lot of 3 linebacker looks from the Eagles. I think we're gonna see a decent bit more base defense than we've been accustomed to once Dean gets back, because I think they want all 3 of those guys on the field. Like, they're 3 legitimate defensive playmakers.
Right.
That could be scary,
And I
but
think,
yeah,
and the
shout out
second,
Jahad Campbell, man.
yeah, and the secondary too. I think the defensive back personally that I thought played the best because he wasn't even thrown at one time by Dak. I thought was Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, the only, like, visual target is the final play of the game, I guess, 4th and 3, CeeDee Lamb kinda listen, CeeDee Lamb he beat DeJean, so it's a hard assignment, is what it is, but he dropped the ball, and you gotta give credit. The pass rush kinda got home there and forced a little bit of an overthrow from Dak. Lamb's gotta catch it anyways, but yes, besides that play, DeJean really did not get targeted at all. He played really, really well. I thought Quinyon played, like, fine, nothing too bad, but nothing too
I
special
feel like
either.
Quinyon. I saw someone tweet out Quinyon's going to have 900 pass breakups in his career and only 3 interceptions.
Yeah, he's gotta be able to catch the football. Like, shouldn't even have been sweating.
Got to
Um,
get him on the jugs machine.
yeah, it's effing embarrassing, honestly. It's really frustrating. I do wanna shout out one more player, checking
Sidney
my
Brown.
notes here. Nope. I Andrew Makuba, actually. Makuba, I did not realize how much he outsnapped him. I did feel like it was more, but I did not think it was it was like 55 snaps to like 18. Like, it was a pretty large disparity. Um, Makuba's great, man. I really, really like Makuba. I think they trust Sidney Brown in like dime packages, which that's fine. I mean, you got to put someone out there in dime, but I thought Makuba was really, really good. It felt like he was always around the football. Um, and yeah, like, I'm very excited for him. I think he is going to be a bit of a game wrecker. So let's pivot to the offensive side of the ball. Mhm. What for to get this out of the way? AJ Brown did not look healthy, even a little bit. A lot of his routes were clear routes, kind of looking like he lost some of his explosiveness by the middle of the route, like because he just was probably favoring the hamstring. Looked like they kind of had him intentionally as a distraction more often than they didn't. He almost went the entire game without a target, which would have been like probably the first time in his entire life that he went a game without a target. It would have been the first time in his NFL career. I can't imagine he went any games in college or high school without getting the ball thrown to him. So almost went the entire game. They did come to him in what Jalen called the biggest play of the game, and he did make the catch and made it a very third and manageable that they ended up picking up to ice the game. But yeah, like he hadn't practiced in what'd you say, John? Like 5 weeks with that hamstring. So definitely looks like getting him in some cardio, getting him some better game
Yeah, he
shape.
ran cardio. So I mean, he ran
Hopefully he's more
cardio.
impactful next week.
And I think, if you look at a lot of the routes he was running, like he was trying to draw the attention of Diggs, and
he was the clear out guy.
A safety to free up the underneath part.
Mm-hmm.
Now Devontae's different because there's no injuries, so you were kind of hoping, and they were like bracketing him too. So basically, the Cowboys' defensive game plan was
zone coverage.
We're going to run cover 3 almost every snap, and we'll let Jalen Hurts pick us apart or we don't think Jalen Hurts can be accurate enough to pick us apart like a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning or a Drew Brees. And well, Michael,
in the first half, he had great success. I thought the offense in the first half looked really, really good. I thought Petula was actually calling good plays. I thought, guys were getting open. It was great. The Cowboys made a huge halftime adjustment, really a post-delay adjustment of we're not going to send 4 anymore. Like they were sending 4 and sitting back in base cover 3, and they were able to hit Goddard on the stop routes and to pick them apart that way. They were having a lot of success with that.
It's also, here's the thing I want to note here, and this is actually, I think this is something no one brought up. So Matt Eberflus is the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator now. Matt Eberflus and Nick Sirianni were both coordinators with the Indianapolis Colts under Frank Reich. Why does that matter? Because Matt Eberflus knows how to stop this offense or is familiar with the scheme he's going against because that's what he saw in practice for several years.
Sure. I think that the Eagles' offense was pretty unstoppable in the first half. They were kind of doing whatever they wanted. And then the second half rolled around, and they were like, okay, no more just rushing 4. We're getting absolutely zero pressure. We need to send some more bodies. And that they did. They blitzed a lot more. They got Jalen off his spot a little bit in the second half. And while Jalen was able to create with his legs and make things happen that way, where he wasn't able to have success was just kind of the straight drop back passing game. They were taking away the underneath the first read, and the pressure was getting home to where he couldn't kind of sit there and read the field and make a play. Like it's so asinine to me that the biggest play of the game on 3rd and 3 that eventually iced it after sending pressure the entire second half, especially post delay, forcing punts and stuff. 3rd and 3, they decide to sit back in their soft cover 3 and are like, all right, well, we're going to make Jalen find the guy and hit him. And it's like, yeah, you covered all the guys. Awesome. You got no pressure, and he can easily run and pick up the first down, and the game's over. Like it was very dumb. They should have sent a blitz and had a guy that could maybe catch him if he was trying to run. But shout out Matt Eberflus, I guess. I thought Jalen played really well in the first half. I thought he carried he just carried a lot, and I thought he made a lot of big plays with his legs in the second half to keep things going. He had a really pretty throw to Dotson in the first half, which I thought that was a nice route concept, having Devonta Smith take that middle safety away, and then he just had to beat the corner on the deep third, and that he did. I feel like they could have exploited that a little bit more, when teams run cover 3 against the Eagles, straight up cover 3, and then load the box with their cover 3, they kind of find their seam routes or their take one guy out and throw the deep ball, and they only did it once all game, and that's a little maybe because A.J. Brown, they didn't feel confident in his health to throw those. I don't know why they wouldn't do it to Devonta Smith. I don't know. It was
this
the
was
play
Kevin
calling in the second
Patullo's
half felt
first
very
game as
stale.
play caller, and Michael, just my opinion. I mean, check me if I'm wrong. The Eagles probably ran a softer camp because they played so deep into the season last year. Why are you going to overwork your guys when guys are still banged up or not, or still recovering from the post? They played 4 posts. They played 21 games last year, right? You're not going to like beat your guys to hell in training camp the following, right? And you had guys that were just banged up, right? So this was like basically in effect like a preseason game in a sense for a lot of guys on that team. Now Jalen looked prepared, especially since you hear all these Elliott's like charting every throw in training camp, going Hurts pick six to Quinyon
Whatever, yeah,
Mitchell.
whatever.
The whole they had a bad camp or something, when he looked sharp this time. But I do think though that it's going to take them a month, like last year, to adjust with the new play caller. That's just logic. It happens in
Yeah.
the NFL all the
I'm
time.
just gonna be worried, I think, until I start seeing and like I'm not gonna be like total panic button or whatever, but there were some I don't know. I'm just a little
I
worried
would
about the
like to
general
see
play
if teams
calling.
are going to sell out to stop Devontae Smith and AJ Brown like the Cowboys did. I think you need to maybe get Jahan Dotson maybe a little more involved to keep them honest, as opposed to like, you throw the deep ball to him, great throw, good job by Jahan Dotson getting in their position to make the play. But like, it's kind of like the 2017 Eagles, Michael, when like teams would like, oh, we're going to double Alshon Jeffrey. We're
I
not, we're
mean,
going
it's
to,
nothing like that though, because they're so much better than that. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
my point, though. Like, if you're gonna, it's like, because think about it, Michael. Teams are gonna look at what the Cowboys did, and they're probably gonna try and copy it. Now, I think AJ Brown, once he gets healthy, is gonna beat zone coverage because he's AJ Brown, and like I don't know, like
that's what I worry. Teams aren't gonna run man against the Eagles. They know they can't, you know? The Cowboys legitimately ran 0 snaps of man coverage yesterday, and zone has been the Eagles' issue for
zone
3
defense is
years
Matt
now.
Eberflus's specialty. That's the Jonathan Gannon like runs the same scheme because he used to coach under Matt
I mean,
Eberflus.
I get it, it's the scheme, but it's like, I think teams are just gonna be like, "Listen, against the Eagles, we gotta run a lot more zone." The Green Bay Packers in the playoff game, all they ran was zone, and they had no pass rush, but we still couldn't really effectively throw the ball because this team has struggled against
God,
zone
that
in
Dan
the Nick
Quinn Super
Sirianni
Bowl run.
era.
If you ran zone in the NFC Championship game, they wouldn't have allowed
I
55
mean,
points.
you look at the days they had the best passing games, you see a lot of man. You know, the Steelers game, Steelers ran a lot of man. The Chiefs, they ran a lot of man. You know, the Eagles had success throwing. So hopefully, they can draw up some better stuff with zone beaters. Um, I'm gonna honestly complain that the interior offensive line played pretty poorly. Granted, I'm sure Landon Dickerson is in a lot of discomfort, trying to, recover from his knee and then his back's banged up, whatever. But it felt like they were kind of getting pushed around by the Cowboys defensive line, and I thought that was I thought they were going to be able to run the ball a little bit
Well,
better.
Landon's in the same boat as AJ to a certain extent because he had the
No,
surgery
I
and
know he just had surgery. I'm not killing him for it, but
and like let's be honest, like
they didn't have a lot of success running between the tackles. I felt they should have ran a little more off tackle, a little more the end. I think that's what they had success with last year, mostly more than running in between the tackles. Because you saw what you saw on display, honestly, to really help bail out the offense a lot was Jalen's legs were very, very impressive. Him being able to escape pressure and run was massive, was enormous. And Saquon's ability to turn nothing into something pretty much every single time. There was at least like 5 plays where Saquon's got the ball and majority of players are getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage, getting tackled for a 2-yard gain, whatever, and he's making a guy miss and picking up 6+ yards on it. And it's like it's a really special ability. It bailed him out. Both Jalen and Saquon really bailed out what I thought was a poorly called second half on the offensive side.
Yeah, it felt like the delay just screwed everything up because like
It
before
did for sure.
because everyone thought this game was going to go over because it was at what 41 points at halftime, and then
Hmm.
the Eagles scored 3, but then yeah,
That was
like
it.
I mean, well, I also think even I feel like a lot of these opening games, they always feel like they're a little bit like it's like you see struggles, like you
It's
saw
sloppy. It's sloppy.
it's a
It's
slop
straight up sloppy
right?
game. Like I think that the delay was almost like a second half time. You know what I mean? And especially the defense has really made big adjustments. Like there was this delay and it was like both teams saw what each other's halftime adjustments wanted to be, and the defense like, okay, Vic Fangio's like, we're gonna put 5 on the line, 6 on the line, and we're gonna get after it a little bit more, bringing it to them on the run game, and then have an extra guy coming in the passing game and get a little bit more pressure on Dak. And it worked. They should have got an interception, whatever. Cowboys, same way. It was like, we're gonna send a little more blitzes now. We can't just sit 4 and sit back and cover 3 and let Jalen, if he can't find someone, have all day to go run and find somewhere. And then obviously the biggest play of the game, the Cowboys still did that. But it was post delay, I thought everyone kind of looked like garbage except like Dak, to be completely honest. But I feel like no one was having any success post delay. But the last shout outs I want to make, I guess, is to the
Special
special
teams.
teams. Yeah, shout out
Special
Jake.
teams won this game for the Eagles, in my opinion.
It really did. Elliott had that 58-yarder, was great. Braden Mann, every punt was essentially perfect. Booming kicks,
Well, the
putting
coverage
it out of
too.
bounds to keep, yeah, and putting it out of
John
bounds to keep
Mechie made a
Turpin from getting
great open
returns.
field tackle. I didn't know
Yeah,
he could play special teams. I thought he was like just a
I also did not know he could play special teams. To be honest with you, because I know they like their receivers to play special teams. So yeah, I was very very pleased with the special teams. But listen, week 1. You just gotta get the win. You just gotta get out of there with a win, and that's what they did. I felt it was very similarly sloppy to how they looked versus the Packers in week 1 in Brazil, with the exception of the lack of big plays. Jalen threw
well.
some pretty
Also,
egregious
that
interceptions.
field they played on, Michael. If you
Oh,
watch,
sure, but, like,
I think this
Jalen
is a
threw
good
some
segue into
awful
the
picks.
next game, or that we're going to talk about, was that they were just slipping everywhere, and you saw that like the big AJ Brown touchdown. Jair Alexander kind of like slipped a little bit, and he kind of lost his footing, and then
I
AJ.
just think he cooked Jair.
Well, maybe just let me, just
CJ slipped, that's for sure. Remember Jaden Reed gave him, like, a half head fake, and CJ went flying out of the picture,
well,
sliding
yeah.
as hard as yeah.
Like I don't know, like literally these two games just feel like Fugazi games because they're not really traditional.
Yeah. Last night, they said they made big adjustments to the field, and I think that was seen. I didn't see very much of
They had to
anyone
stitch.
slipping.
They stitched the grass in.
Yeah, did you think anyone was slipping yesterday? I didn't think so. I thought it was pretty good. This obviously we will not go as in depth as we did for Eagles Cowboys, but I think the biggest takeaway from this game is Justin Herbert trying to prove all the naysayers wrong over the offseason. It must have been a long offseason for Justin Herbert, where everywhere he looked, it was he's not that good, not that guy. Interceptions in the playoffs, choker, can't play in a big game. When the game gets tight, don't trust him. And for as much as you can show in a week 1 against a division opponent, I think he showed pretty much everything possible. Um, was on the money with his throws, was very effective with his legs. The Chargers were up late in the game and they kept throwing like to move the chains and move the ball, and he was accurate. He was decisive. Justin Herbert was awesome yesterday. He was really, really, really good. One of the best games of his career, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert, I mean, we know how talented he is, but like, whenever he's in these games where it's like he needs to ball out because, their teams, the Chargers are the underdog, it just kind of feels like the reputation he has is like kind of what Acho said. He's a social media quarterback. You'd see snippets of some of his throws, and you're like, wow, that's a great throw. And they're down 17-3 when he's making these throws, right? Listen, man, he looked great. Chargers team, obviously, a team on the rise. You also once said they should be relegated because how embarrassing they are, and the fact that this is like the biggest win they've had in like I don't know, I can't tell you when.
Franchise? No, I'm kidding, but
it kind of shows how kind of ass they've been, like
yeah,
right, like beating Kansas a potential downturn Kansas City Chiefs team opening night is like your biggest win. It's like your Super Bowl essentially, right? Like for like the Herbert defenders, like this is kind of how pathetic those Charger fans on Twitter are. Herbert has a good game against Kansas City, and they're like using it to demean Jalen Hurts. Like that is like basically like we talk about insecurity and low self-esteem. Like that is just textbook. Like it's not like wow, we finally beat the Kansas City Chiefs after they've kicked our ass for like the last 10 years or whatever long Andy Reid's been there as the head coach. No, we got to talk about Jalen Hurts. Like you are like it's literally that meme of the guy. You see the meme? Someone grokked a picture up of like a 400-pound guy in a Justin Herbert jersey, and he's got hang up in the background like an anime poster.
Oh yeah.
Like that's literally like who some of these trolls are, and it's like it kind of takes away from the win a little bit if you hang on Twitter too long.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to take away because of some questionable fans.
Let's talk about the game. I want to pose a question to you, like kind of like a thought, maybe like a thought exercise. But I really want to see your opinion on it, and then we can kind of go into the picks. So, KC offense looked good. Quentin Johnston, aka Banana
Chargers,
Hands.
you mean?
Yeah, from the Chargers, like Quentin Johnston, aka Banana Hands, played pretty well. He looks like because you felt like every time they need him to make a catch last year, he would just drop it.
He did have a drop touchdown, but he did also have 2 touchdowns yesterday. So he looked a lot better, man. He was like bust of the decade his rookie year. And last year, with very minimal improvements, still looked very bad. And this year, I mean, not this year, this game, he looked very good, honestly. He had still a bad drop, but he was pretty reliable, made some big plays, 2 touchdowns. Herbert was leaning on him in big spots. Yeah, I got to give him credit. If he can really get himself to a viable number 2 receiver behind
I sort of forgot they picked up Tyler Conklin, who
he made an impact.
Maybe with Justin Herbert, he's going to be better because he was playing on the Jets for so long.
Well, I mean, Justin Herbert, I saw the stat. He targeted his wide receivers on like 82% of his passes, which was the highest mark, I think, of his career. So I think what that says mostly is just how bad the receiving core around him has usually been, how bad the weapons has usually been. But I feel as though this is probably the best set of weapons he's had.
I think this is the best coaching he's had.
Yeah, sure. I think it's best coaching. I think it's the best receivers, best running backs. I thought Omarion Hampton looked pretty dynamic. Definitely looks like it's his backfield and not Najee Harris's. I have to say that. I think Najee Harris will be a nice change of pace back.
I think Omarion Hampton definitely has legs, but did you get the vibe that the Chiefs thought the Chargers were going to throw like 20 passes last night and they didn't know how to adjust to their passing attack whatsoever?
I'm just I think it's
they were selling out to stop Hampton.
I mean, I just think that
they were loaded. There a lot of loaded boxes last night.
I just think the Chiefs defense is not very good anymore.
That's what I
It's
was also going to
it's
mention as
it's
well.
it's not very good. I think that, Chris Jones is great. Karlaftis is solid, very solid. McDuffie's great. Outside of that, it's a whole lot of mid and a whole
Mm.
lot of not so
I
great,
don't
and
think
I
it's
think
just
that
on the defensive side of the ball as well,
no,
Mike.
sure, but I think their defense, I think it hasn't been good, honestly, since 2023, and last year they just kinda had it they just, like, masked it. I think the Chiefs last year were so, so good at controlling the clock and time of possession,
Their
and
defense couldn't cause issues. It was when their
they're
offense faltered is when they got exposed.
like a game-to-game basis, you were like, "Oh, Chiefs only gave up 17 points. Oh, Chiefs only gave up 16 points. They got an intercept." All that you look at it from an outside lens, that's what you would see. But if you actually turned on a Chiefs game and you're watching them drive by drive, it's like, man, they just gave up a
Yeah,
9-minute drive
yeah,
that ended in a touchdown.
like Bryce Young, who we were like, oh my god, this guy's not good last year, was cooking their defense.
Well, but yes, but the reason why the defense actually gave up points was because the Chiefs' offense was not great through the beginning of that game. Like
Very putrid rushing
when
attack.
the Chiefs' offense was doing what they were doing last year to a success, which was milking games and controlling the clock and limiting possessions, the defense didn't look so bad because it didn't have opportunities to look so bad. And then let's look at the Super Bowl. Eagles defense was so good at not letting the Chiefs offense milk the game and limit possessions, their defense got exposed. So that's really what it is. If the Chiefs offense is going to struggle and not be able to limit possessions and run a lot of clock and take these long methodical drives, the Chiefs are going to struggle this year. Like dead serious, they are going to be grinding their way to like a 10-11 win season if the offense is not going to be able to sit on the ball and shorten the game. You talk about shortening, less possessions either way. That's going to be the Chiefs' desire is to have the offense milk clock and not let their defense get exposed. And last night was a big picture on how their defense got exposed because they were on the field so much and Herbert was able to just kind of have his way with them.
So let's switch up to the Chiefs defense versus the Chiefs offense. The Chargers defense last year was an elite level defense, right?
Actually, it was surprisingly good. Yeah.
Right. And last night, I don't really see any signs of regression. If anything, they've improved, I think, on defense. They're very well coached on defense. So the defensive coordinator for the Chargers was the defensive coordinator, I believe, at Michigan when Harbaugh was there. So think, sorry, it's Jesse Minter. He was a guy, the Eagles, before they hired Deshaun Desai, they actually interviewed Jesse Minter to be their D coordinator, but he turned the Eagles down to stay with Harbaugh. Jesse Minter, Michael, the Chargers defensive coordinator, I don't think he's going to be there for much longer. In other words, I think he's going to be a head coach, either in college or potentially in the NFL. Because when you look
Yeah.
at that defense, Michael, I mean, listen, Derwin James, he's a dog. One of the best safeties, maybe the best safety in football. It's between him and Kyle Hamilton, in my opinion, right? But you look at a lot of the guys, Michael, they're all like drafted players or like guys they pick, like either guys at the end of their career, like a Khalil Mack entering his 14th season, Hall of Famer.
Felt his impact yesterday on
But
that
he had
4th
him,
and 7
yeah, he's not
chasing Mahomes
cooked.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not
And then
cooked,
Mahomes
but
dropped
he
that
looks pretty
dime.
good.
Yeah.
They let Bosa go because they're probably like he's probably like he was probably a negative on their like locker room because he's such a bitch. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Did I say that?
Yeah. No, like the Chargers defense played pretty well. The Chiefs offense, dude, I think we were excited maybe isn't the
I
right
think
word, but it's
Herbert's
like
got better weapons than Allen does.
than Josh Allen.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, McConkey, yeah, sure. But looking at, I mean, the Chiefs' weapons, like I think we were all kind of looking forward to, like, is Xavier Worthy this big breakout, whatever, especially with Rashee Rice out, he's gonna be so relied upon, and he gets knocked out of the game on the 3rd play of the game, like, not a good
Oh,
sign
Xavier
from
Worthy.
that. Yeah, yeah, and, Kelsey, we know what it's gonna be with Kelsey, like, he's gonna not get a ton of targets for the regular season, like, he's gonna be used very sparingly in big spots, and
That's not going to happen, man.
they're gonna
They
lean
need him.
on him in the playoffs. Well, I mean,
No, they need
they
him.
didn't
You got to
they
win
didn't last
games. You
year.
got to win games to get to the playoffs. But you just said they're struggling. You can't
Yeah,
put
so
Travis
maybe they'll have
Kelce
to
in
pivot.
shrink wrap and just hope that, like,
I mean,
Juju
I know, but
and
they just, if they're trying to do what they did last year, that's what they'll do. But if they have to pivot, they'll have to pivot. I mean, you know, when Rasheed Rice gets back, I'm sure it'll all look better, but that's not for a little while, and a tough
I
start
mean,
to the schedule. You don't want to. Kansas City, they
so
can't start 0-2.
I mean, exactly. So I want to just talk about this though. I mean, I think Pacheco looks cooked. It looks like the Chiefs. I think you see the Brees Hall potential trade talk. I think Brees Hall is going to be a Kansas City Chief in about 5 weeks,
It'll be
barring
interesting to see
injury.
if they actually
Barring injury,
if they
because
actually pull that trigger.
Pacheco looks cooked. He should not be like he wasn't on any critical downs for them. Like
Hmm.
they use Kareem Hunt exclusively on third down. You know,
Pacheco's not much of a receiver, that's sort of that. Like Kareem Hunt still has decent hands, and I don't think they trust Pacheco as a pass catcher. Um, but yeah, I mean the Chiefs' weapons are pretty putrid. I think what also, despite like maybe the stat line wasn't so pretty, if last night also reminded people like it should have, like, oh, Justin Herbert's actually really good. I think it should have also been like, Mahomes is also like the best for a reason, sort of thing. Like some of the plays that he made were pretty freakish. The flip that he parallel with the ground to pick up the first down. That 4th and 7 throw was pretty special. Um, I do think his deep ball needs a bit of refining. I still think he acts like Tyreek Hill's running out there, and he can
well,
just kind of throw it as far as he
Patrick
can.
Mahomes has the second fewest amount of air yards in football,
He
only
did.
ahead of Daniel Jones, and I think that's a product of their weapons. And I think it's also a product of Matt
Of the
Nagy
scheme, man. Yeah, yeah,
and the
yeah.
scheme. And we're like, oh, Matt Nagy, Matt Nagy, Matt Nagy, Matt Nagy. Michael, I'm sorry, Andy Reid is supposed to be like a scheme guy. He's not. He's not a CEO coach, right? He's supposed to be a scheme guy. At what point is he supposed to step in? Because he's got the most stroke in that organization. You look at the roster. That roster's not good. That's not a good
No,
roster.
that's John. They have, I would
He's
say,
he's got
at
final
this
say on
point,
the roster. That's
I
the
would say
point.
at this point they have two offensive players that are like above average. Maybe three if you want to, 3 to 4 if you want to get Kelsey and like Trey Smith. But like it's Mahomes and Humphrey and a bunch of like
Michael,
fine.
they
Like, dude,
remind me.
Jawan Taylor is horrible. It actually, as a football fan, I actually get angry watching Jawan Taylor because he is so bad. So many
That's the
penalties.
thing,
He
Michael.
gets
It's
beat
like
all the time. He's a
it's to me. It's almost
horrible.
like with Andy. It's like this is what got him. This is kind of why he got fired here, Michael. This is kind of what you're seeing right now. It's kind of I'm not saying he's going to get fired by the Chiefs, of course. That is not what I'm saying. But when people are like, "Oh, the Eagles were such idiots for firing Andy Reid," well, like Andy kind of like would just not attend to any certain spots of the roster whatsoever. Like, and you're kind of seeing on the Chiefs, and I think
And he got fired. He couldn't like his building of the roster. He stopped building good rosters. Like the Eagles were a bad team, and it was like, okay,
and he
you
builds a
kind of
great
had.
roster, and he stops doing it.
It was like you had full reign on the roster, and the roster kind of sucks. Like it's kind of time to,
Like,
it's
what are
time
we
to
going to
move it.
blame Brett Veach for? Like, I guess you could
Yeah,
blame him
I
for.
mean, he does the. I am because he gets glazed all the time, and it's like, dude, Guy Moore is like out of the league in like a day. Like Xavier Worthy is just not what you wanted
You know
in
who
whatever.
Xavier Worthy kind of reminds me of? Because I saw the play. He's basically he. You probably don't remember. You've heard this name. He's basically Todd Pinkston.
Oh my god. I mean,
That's what he is. He's undersized. Todd Pinkston was fast, but Michael, like you feel like if you just go like this to him, he's gonna get hurt. But you saw last night running into Kelsey.
Sure, yeah, and look, yeah, we'll see. But anyways, yeah, I think yesterday the quarterbacks looked really good for sure.
I
And
think Mahomes is gonna get a lot. Like we got to talk about this, then we'll move on.
Mahomes is going to start getting the not his fault treatment. I think that's
I
going
don't
to
know. A
start
lot of
coming
people
around.
hate his guts, Michael. So last night when Mahomes was running, there was a play where he was running out of bounds, and it looked like he was giving himself up. The defender eased up, and then Mahomes shoulder checked.
Listen, I don't think Mahomes was like faking a slide or faking going out of bounds before he hit him. He ran full speed and hit him. What'll this will open the door? People hate Mahomes and people want to see him get killed. Like,
But
I
then
think
he was
someone's gonna
begging
hit
for a
him.
flag after it.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was going like this.
Mahomes was not going
He
like
threw
that.
his hands up.
No, he was not. He did not ask for a flag after that. Honestly, Mahomes took a big hit and he tapped the helmet of the Charger guy that hit him. I think if you're in the bounds of it, he's not gonna ask for the flag. Maybe he'll flop every now and again, but I don't know. I think the reason why I think Mahomes is gonna start getting the not his fault treatment is because the not his fault people aren't like they're not like truly they're not really like haters. You know, the people that hate Mahomes are not the people that are saying, "Oh, it's not Justin Herbert's fault," or "Oh, it's not, Dak's fault." Those are not the same people. The people that hate Mahomes are the people that think Justin Herbert's like a big time joker who isn't very good, and the same people that think Dak blows. Like that's kind of where the Venn diagram is in the middle there. I think a few weeks are going to go by and we're going to start getting kind of like when Mahomes in the Buccaneers Super Bowl, where it was really like, man, how many drops did the Chiefs have that game? That felt ridiculous. Mahomes is running all over the place, making these ridiculous throws, and they're hitting dudes in the hands and they're not catching them. That was like peak not his fault Mahomes. Everyone was like, man, not his fault. Look at these plays and how many drops. I think by like week 4, we're gonna start getting a lot of Mahomes has no weapons, whatever, and no one's gonna want to hear it because they're gonna say, "Well, he's always had the refs all these years, so maybe it's not," and that's fine, sure. But I just think we're gonna see like a discourse shift in the way that Mahomes gets talked about in this next month. But let's let's get into the picks, man. Let's pick Sunday and Monday. I am excited. First game up on the docket.
I guess you're gonna ignore the fact that we're 0-2 in our picks to start.
Yes, yes, we are. Marquee matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers on the road to take on the New York Jets. A couple of former quarterbacks playing against their former teams. If only the NFL knew that was okay. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
Steelers are 3-point favorites on the road against the Jets. I think my favorite part about the Jets is Aaron Glenn. You know,
I
I
agree.
I don't think Justin Fields is good at all. I don't think Breece Hall is as good as he was. Yeah, I don't love the Steelers at
I
all
think if
either.
Aaron Glenn didn't have his entire defense get injured, I think their hiring of Aaron Glenn would receive more praise.
Yeah, yeah, I think it would, and I do think if it wasn't the Jets too, like I think anyone that goes to the Jets, I think everyone's just like,
Yeah,
well,
this was like the Titans. I think with like Cam Ward people would
yes,
be
yes,
loving
but
it.
it was the Jets, and I think everyone's like, well, his coaching career was fun while it lasted, but yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna take the Steelers here,
what if this
man.
was like a D'Amico Ryan's type hiring where he seems like a leader of men type
A
guy?
culture change, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree,
yeah.
I agree, but I think that was what Robert Saleh was supposed to be, and that didn't really work. So
Yeah, well,
hopefully Aaron Glenn's a little better at that. But anyways, I'm going with the Steelers this week. I look at the quarterbacks, and while I don't think very much of Aaron Rodgers anymore, I do think that he is definitely better than Justin Fields. And like I really think this is going to be a mid off. I really do. And the fact that it's a 3-point spread it makes me like I just think it's gonna be a 3-point game. I think the Steelers win something along the lines of like ugly 17-13, 17-14, that sort of thing. So I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh. It feels like Mike Tomlin can cook something up against a bad quarterback, especially one that he was familiar with last year. So let me get the Steelers here.
So yeah, I think so. It's kind of a hard game to pick, obviously, with the over under being so pathetically low. It being a 3-point game, it just screams like this is going to be a push, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is going to push. I think the Jets will be leading most of the game, and then they'll find a way to screw it up. Like Fields takes a 20-yard sack, knocks him out of field goal range. They punt, punter shanks it. Rodgers drives them down the field. They're down by 3, or something screwy is going to happen. I'm gonna go against my better judgment and take the Steelers.
I
But
thought that better judgment was going to lead you to the Jets.
well, no,
I
it's
feel
like
like taking the
I
Jets
think
is
this is going to
always.
be a push. I think
Listen,
this
I
is
think
dead
picking
ass
against
going to
the.
be a push.
I agree. I do think it is. I think picking against the Jets is always, I think, your better judgment, to be fair. Um, Next game we have here. Ugh, God. The Daniel Jones led Indianapolis Colts are playing host to the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are 1.5-point underdogs. John, everything is screaming blood red letters screaming in your face that the Dolphins are dead. There's nothing that you could convince me to say that, the Dolphins are actually going to be pretty dang good this year. Nothing.
I
Absolutely
agree.
nothing. Tua has like totally lost his mind. Tyreek Hill does not want to be there even 1%. Devon
If
Achan is totally
if
hurt.
if the duel were to put out odds on players to be most likely traded at by the trade deadline, Tyreek Hill has to be like the top, like
Up there, yeah, for
minus like
sure.
200, I would say.
Like, I mean, when the chatter comes out, like, oh, Jalen Waddle looks like wide receiver one at camp, and it's like,
Oh
oh
yeah, man! Like,
well,
dude, in our fantasy draft, someone took Jalen Wild, and he's like, "Yeah, he's gonna be our wide receiver 1 in about
yeah,
8 weeks," and it's probably true. It's probably
dude, it
gonna
might be
happen.
less than 8 weeks, honestly. It's just they're deader than anything. But then I look across the sideline and I'm like, well, it's Daniel Jones, man. And like if anyone's as dead as the Dolphins, it might be the freaking Colts, man. Is Shane Steichen a
Do
dead
you
coach
think?
walking?
I mean, in terms of just like irony, like when the Colts get the first overall pick, there's like a generational quarterback that's available, and they pick him. Where now that like
It's not Arch.
Arch
So
should be, Arch should stay another year to get more seasoning. I think he's going to be good. He just needs games. He needs to play games. Like, I'm sorry,
sure, sure.
he needs to play games.
Right.
Lagway's a year away. Lenore, I like Lenoris, but
I
then
do
I
like
also
Ladors.
but then I also feel like the Colts completely botched the whole Anthony Richardson thing, and I think Lenoris is more polished than Anthony Richardson. But like, what? You give him 2 games and you bail on him? Like,
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna get a regime change this offseason in Indy.
I agree. I think the Colts might get sold.
And I think this is the start of it. I'm
I
taking
agree.
Miami. I'm taking Miami plus 1.5. I just if there's ever a time where the Dolphins don't totally suck, it's in September. So I'll take the Dolphins as like they are the more talented team
I agree.
than
I
the
think we're gonna
Colts.
see. I
More
think Ollie.
talented,
I
better
think Ollie
quarterback.
Gordon's gonna be really good,
Yeah.
and I think we might just see the doll. I think you're gonna see like the, the Mike, the Mike McDaniel. Um, this is why he needs to go to a more functioning team to be their head coach, because like he still can call a good game. He just needs, you know,
Some stability.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to take the
Yeah.
Dolphins as well.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I can't.
Next game. This is this is my like
This is the
enticing game of the
Michelangelo
week.
Bowl.
Yeah, this is my enticing game of the week.
This is certainly the most intriguing game, I think,
That's what I'm saying.
besides like the obvious ones like Ravens
Yeah,
and
besides like the
Phillies.
actual good games, whatever.
Is this the future of the NFL?
Carolina Panthers
Bryce Young and
heading
Travis Hunter.
down
I'm
to
just gonna ignore
Jacksonville,
T-Law.
taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I am higher on both of these teams than I was last year.
I picked both these teams to make the playoffs, FYI.
While I do while I do think the Panthers do lack some overall defensive talent, to probably like to probably be actually good enough to make the playoffs. I think that on the offensive side of the ball, especially when Jalen Coker gets healthy, I think the Panthers can be a little frisky. I like Bryce Young, showed me a lot. Um,
The kitty team and the
I like
frisky.
Ted McMillan. This is the litter box. I think that
The litter bowl.
looking at the other side, the Jags are 3.5-point favorites. I'm picking Jacksonville. I'm high on the Jags. I think they're gonna. I picked them to
It
win the
does
NFC
feel
South.
weird with how bad the Jags were last year and how the Panthers finished the season. That even though they're on the road, if this game was played in Carolina, it's a pick 'em. Whereas now the Jags with the new, I'm going to take the Panthers. I'm going to tell you why. I like Liam Cohen. I think you're going to see a lot of good things. I think you're going to see some big plays out of BTJ. I do feel though that the Panthers are a better coach team because they've had the experience now with Dave Canales in his second year. And
Okay.
they got Derek Brown back. He's back in the lineup. They didn't have him for almost all of last year.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I think listen, I'm not really I don't know with Trevor Lawrence. Like I feel like Baker has an edge to him. That's why he's kind of came back because he literally hit rock bottom. I don't really think Trevor Lawrence has hit rock bottom. Like Trevor Lawrence was never asked to play safety with the scout team and then get cut.
No,
That's
sure.
rock bottom. But I do think this is going to be like is Bryce Young the better quarterback from the 2023 draft? Did we over evaluate CJ Stroud way
DJ
too
Stroud.
quickly?
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. I think that I think Travis Hunter is going to have I think we're going to get a display of whoa, this guy's Otani. Like this is different.
Oh yeah,
I think he's
could
going
you
to have.
imagine if he has a pick six and like a receiving touchdown?
That's definitely going to happen in his career at some point. I think Travis Hunter to me is going to have
Is he on special teams too? Is he running back punts?
he should not run back punts if I'm being honest. But
I agree with you on that.
I think Hunter is going to have four catches for 70 yards and a score plus two PBUs, and it's gonna be oh my god, this guy's
I'm
insane.
gonna tell you why I like the Panthers in this game too. Then this is no one's bringing up, dude. The Jags' offensive line last year was putrid, and I know they worked to improve it in the offseason.
They did.
They're gonna need 4 or 5 weeks to gel. Where when we were talking about the Panthers, oh my god, this is the worst team ever. They just needed time to gel. I think the Jags need the same thing. Them being 3.5-point favorites, I'm taking, but everyone's betting them on the money line. So
with the spread, everyone's on Carolina. Not everyone, but it's a split favoring Carolina. So it'll be interesting.
I'm taking the Panthers.
Next game, we have the New York Giants on the road against the Washington Commanders. This is your classic, week one divisional game. Yeah. Pretty much an even split on the spread. Slightly favoring New York and then heavy on the money line. Washington.
Are you sitting
Washington
down?
-6 all off season. When the schedule came out, I was like, this is a thrashing. This is belt. This is a domination from Washington. The Giants are just so bad. And then you watch Thursday and you're like, sometimes it's just the worst. Sometimes the NFC East games just are not fun. They suck. It's not an enjoyable time. You're just kind of suffering through it until you win. And I think we might see a very similar, like, suffer through it, and then the Commanders just win.
Should I
I'm
just?
taking
I'm
I'm
should I just
taking the
come out and say
Giants
it?
+6. I know what you wanna do, so I'm gonna give mine Giants +6. I think the Commanders win. Go ahead.
Giants are going to win this game. Michael, how much humiliation had they just suffered for years?
I mean, last year was, probably about as peak humiliation as it can get with Saquon.
I think I think the Commanders, they get embarrassed in the NFC title game. They make a bunch of moves. They basically were like the Sixers. They brought a bunch of has-beens, washed up dudes.
Oh,
And I know their fans are like, I'm sure this year they're gonna laugh at this. Oh, but we had the Over the Hill gang in the 1970s. We did the same thing, and we, almost won the Super Bowl with doing that. It's like, no, man. Here's the thing: is that I think I like Jaden Daniels. I could see C.J. Stroud regression where he was protected a lot as a rookie, and I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to take the training wheels off a little bit. And he still needs to learn because he's only in his second year. But the fact that they're like rotating running backs, like this is kind of what got Cliff Kingsbury fired from the Cardinals, Michael. He couldn't make his mind on his whose go-to running back is. And like Terry McLaurin sat out like the whole offseason, and he's 29 years old. He might be running cardio on tomorrow.
no, I there's a lot of reasons to believe that the Giants. I'll say this too about the Giants. Like, they're gonna
Their
start
happy
Russ.
training camp was their Super Bowl.
Yeah, like, they're gonna sign Russ, or they're gonna start Russ. I
Jackson Dart
don't
is the number 2 QB tomorrow.
I don't know if we're gonna see them start being hot ass until Dart takes over,
Can't
and
you
whether
just
that's due
see?
to
Can't you
injury
honestly
or.
just see Malik Neighbors like putting Marshawn Lattimore in a blender tomorrow?
Oh, for sure. And I agree. And, like, you look at the Giants, and it's like, they have a really tough start to the schedule. Like, we talked about it before a couple weeks ago, like, if the Giants start 0-6 and Russell Wilson's the quarterback, it's very easy to be like, "Alright, Jackson Dart time." If the Giants start 0-6 and Jackson Dart's the quarterback, then it's like Brian Daboll, there's the door. Like, that's a big, big difference. When you
Brian Dable, next Alabama head coach? Question mark.
they can start Russell Wilson, go 0-6 in a bunch of close games because Russ is miles more competent than what Daniel Jones was last year. And they just still wouldn't be winning, but, like, it's not gonna be as ugly because the quarterback is not as putrid. And I think we're gonna see that early, like, them able to hang around and not be completely and utterly lifeless at all times. So, I'm with you with the Giants +6. I see the vision. I am gonna still think the Commanders are probably gonna win, but I do see the vision for sure.
Okay.
Moving on to another, divisional game, we have this is like the classic everyone loves to bet, this trend week 1, week like, early in the season, especially. Cincinnati Bengals are on the road
Your
against
Cincinnati Bengals.
the man. Listen, that was so long ago, like, that was if you think about how long we've been doing this, like, I was just I was that was like 2 living situations ago, my Cincinnati Bengals started up, so pretty funny there. Yeah, the Bengals are at home or they're on the road against the Browns. The Bengals are 5.5-point favorites. Everyone's favorite trend in the entire universe is early season home divisional underdogs. take that spread, they cover the spread, take the spread, they cover the spread, take the spread, they cover the spread. Where everyone's zigging, I'm gonna zag. I'm taking the Bengals -5.5. I saw a very interesting officiating trend that the officials for this game in divisional games are the favorites cover the spread at like a 60 something percent rate. So I'm gonna ride that trend a little bit. And I just think the Browns are really bad. I do. As
Well,
as
they are really bad. You're
as
correct.
bad as I believe the Bengals defense is, even with Trey Hendrickson, I do think their offense is it's just capable of being elite, even with
Well,
a
yeah.
weakish offensive line. The receivers, running back, and Joe Burrow is
Well,
very
I
capable.
mean, the matchup. I think that it's going to be the Browns' defense versus the Bengals' offense. We know
Mhm,
Miles
mhm.
Garrett is like a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. The Bengals' offensive line is complete hot garbage.
John, I really have to pee, so I'm gonna be right back. You keep
Okay,
talking.
okay. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk about this matchup. I mean, the big one's going to be the Browns' defense coached by Jim Schwartz, scrappy defense. Some pretty good players on defense. They're going to debuting the defensive tackle from Michigan, Mason Graham, as well. I do though think it's going to be who do you think is more competent, the Browns offense or the Bengals defense? Tanner McKee was carving up the starting defense for the Cincinnati Bengals in the preseason, and the Bengals defense is now coached by former Temple head coach and former Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Golden. I don't know about how much that's going to work, but I don't know. Like, I could kind of see Joe Flacco just launching bombs to Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, and listen, I don't think Judkins is not going to play in this game, so it's going to be Jerome Ford. That's going to really hurt. But, I mean, Harold Fannon's an intriguing guy, too, but they also have David Njoku as well. Look, I mean, I think if the Browns can keep up, I don't know if they can keep up with them, though. So this is kind of a really hard game to pick, I think. Because, like, the trend is the Bengals, the last couple of years, okay, you're back, they've played down to two bad teams, lost both games. I mean, basically due to bad weather. And Michael, there's something we completely ignored with this. The Bengals lost their opening games due to like partially bad weather. Like, remember 2 years ago when they played the Browns in, I think, Cleveland, and it was like a monsoon. And then last year
Right.
against the Patriots, like the
New
Patriots
England.
were like the worst team in the NFL, it felt like last year.
Yeah, like, and the trend too is that the Bengals, Zach Taylor is what? 1-11, 2-11, 1-11. The Bengals are 1-11 in the first 2 weeks of the season under Zach Taylor. So, it's really a trend to buck here.
I was just bringing up this. I think what you need to look at with this game is,
I heard, yeah.
yeah, who's more
You
competent, the Browns offense or the Bengals defense? They're both incompetent.
They're
But
both bad, and it's like I think that Flacco might be able to push the ball a little bit. Um, but I do just think the Bengals offense might be too much for the
I
Browns
mean, I
defense
also
to
look at it
handle.
too. Like, I think the Browns are going to win 3 or 4 games. Like, is this going to be one of their wins? Like, there's a chance.
So where are you at? I'm taking Cincinnati -5.5. Where are you at with this?
Well, I mean, if I want to win $240,000, Michael, I think I want to see the Bengals win this game because if Joe Burrow's going to be MVP, you can't be losing to the Browns week one. Lamar's not doing that. Josh Allen's not doing that. They're MVPs. What? Joe Burrow's going to lose week one to the Browns? And we're going to give him an MVP award? Like, you're laughing.
Listen, I
You're
hear you.
laughing,
You're
but
not
you know I'm
wrong. You're
right.
not. Yeah, no, it's an angle for sure. All right,
I'm going to take the
next
Bengals.
game.
Why not? And then I'm going to be kicking myself when the Browns probably win this game.
The next game I have is the it's what I feel as though is the worst line of the week, I think.
I agree.
The Las Vegas Raiders are in New England to play the Patriots, and the Patriots are 2.5-point favorites. I think I just disagree. I think I look at that line and I say, "No, that is wrong. I disagree." I'm taking the Raiders with the points, man. Christian Gonzalez is not gonna play in this game. I who else is questionable? They just Oh, Will Campbell is questionable with, like, a calf injury, I think, their
Suarez.
first round pick. Yeah, so you're taking away the best corner. I think Gino's gonna be able to kinda cook. I like the Raiders this year as a potential sneak in wild card team. A lot of people are very high on the Patriots because I think a lot of people like Mike Vrabel, but the roster is just so uninspiring, even with, a Drake May improvement and a better head coach. It
I
still
mean, if other offseason
doesn't do
moves,
much to
the
me.
guy that's the only I consider needle mover is Milton Williams. I know they signed Diggs.
Sure, and we talk about we also cite that, like, listen, it'll be interesting to watch Milton Williams when he's not playing next to Jalen Carter, you know? Like, if he's getting the focal point double teams, you might not feel his impact as much, you know? So, it'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. I'm taking the Raiders. I think they win the game. I do not think New England should be favored.
Yeah, I do think I agree with you, Michael. I like the Raiders as well. I think Jacoby Myers asked for a trade. The Raiders said no, and now he's gonna.
Well, now Amari Cooper retires, so now it's like, "Well, Jacoby, number 1 wideout's yours again, buddy." Like,
Yeah, I do think the Dante Thornton hype is getting a little out of hand. I know he's
yeah.
as
Like,
well.
it's Brock Bowers, man. Like, Brock Bowers is gonna
This
about to
feels
be
like a is Brock Bauer. It's like is Brock Bowers going to be a
goat
first
tight end.
ballot Hall of Famer because of how
Right.
ridiculous he is? It is
Yeah.
kind of fitting though for New England to watch a great tight end torment them after having Gronk for so many years. Give me the Raiders as well,
Yeah.
outright.
Next game, Arizona Cardinals in New Orleans to play the
Michael,
Saints.
if there's one thing Jonathan Gannon excels at, it is tormenting bad offenses.
Okay. I was scared where you were going with that. I thought you were about to pick the Saints on me. There is a contingent of people, and when I say that, I say, Theo Ash is a little high on the New Orleans Saints. I don't know why he's cooking with that, but he is. The Saints are bad, dude. I really think they're the worst team in the league. I hate everything about them. I never liked the team, never liked the franchise, and I just think their roster is putrid. And I think Kellen Moore. Listen, you got to take the head coaching job. You got to take the head coaching job. But I do think this is like
It
the worst
asked for
place he
like
could have
a
ever
super
gone.
long contract on purpose.
And it's like Tyler Shuck doesn't really excite me too much. Neither does Spencer Rattler, who's actually going to be the starter. Or it's Rattler. Yeah, it's
Spencer
not
the
Ritter.
Rattler. I would
It's
not
not
be.
Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
would not be surprised if Tyler Shuck makes an appearance in this game,
Oh,
not due to injury, but
wow, that would be insane. Yeah, the Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites. This line is ballooned. I'm high on the Cardinals though. As much as I don't like the Saints, I this pick is also my belief in the Cardinals. To go from what Kyler was saying about Marvin Harrison Jr. last year versus what he's saying this year. Last year was, oh, it's not my job to make sure everyone's getting touches or whatever like that. This year, it's, yeah, I just think you know, we're on the same page and the chemistry was so good this year. I think we're gonna have a great year with him. Like totally night and day. That honestly, it doesn't instill confidence in me that we might see Marvin like really flex the great prospect that he was. Um, and, James Conner's always steady. Trey McBride, I think people are expecting an even further breakout, maybe more touchdown variance goes his way. I'm taking the Cardinals too to get a road big win.
I'm taking the Cardinals as well. We do see like the triumvirate of heavy favorites, and I think with the money line, I don't think Vegas is taking a bath tomorrow on that. I do think one of them gets knocked off. I don't think it's the Arizona Cardinals. If it is, then it's like what like because all I
Yeah.
heard were these two teams that had the best training camps were the Cardinals and the Broncos. Right?
Both those teams are very big favorites this week.
Correct. So
we'll get to them in a little bit,
like,
but
I think I'm taking the Arizona Cardinals.
The next game we have is another divisional matchup in Atlanta. The Falcons are 1.5-point underdogs to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, it looks like Godwin might play. Is that right? Like, am I
No, he's
wrong with
out.
that? Okay. I thought I might have.
No,
Is he
because
on
Tristan
IR?
Wirfs is out.
No, see, Godwin was not
He's ruled out.
until like
He's ruled out for week
yesterday or
one.
2 days ago. I know he was ruled out, but it wasn't like IR reason he's out. Like he could have played. Um, I'm lower on the Buccaneers, I think, than general. I think Liam Cohen's absence it's gonna hit, and if it's gonna hit at any time, it's gonna hit early in the
Didn't
season.
we say the exact same thing about Dave Canales though?
Yeah, but then Liam Cohen turned out to be really good.
Well, maybe they're just really good at finding these genius coaches.
Maybe they are, but I'm gonna keep saying they're not until
Proven
until I'm proven
otherwise.
wrong. Yes, until I'm proven wrong again. Baker had a lot of negative plays last year. Didn't lead the league in turnovers and sacks. Like it just a lot of negative plays. But
Yeah.
to his credit, he had like 4,500 yards and like 40 touchdowns to outweigh it. And listen, we'll see if he can keep that up again. Mike Evans,
Listen, for
I
the
don't
Atlanta
think gets
Falcons,
1,000 yards this year. Like
there's a lot of pressure on the Atlanta Falcons in this game, in my opinion, Michael. For a couple reasons. One,
I
for Michael
agree.
Penix. Michael Penix, he's the starting quarterback. Michael, you know me, I'm not a huge be in the pocket passer. Like you gotta have some mobility. He doesn't have any of that.
No, he doesn't move very much.
Doesn't move very well. And once again, oh my God, Kyle Pitts, he looks great in training camp. Oh, he's golfing with Penix. Could he be the go-to guy?
It's Drake London. Drake London is a monster.
If there's a got fooled again award team, it might be the Atlanta Falcons. So they got a lot to prove a lot of people wrong. I'm taking Atlanta for the.
I am taking Atlanta too. They're my pick to win the South. And listen, my thought is like if you're gonna win the South and you want to be serious, like this is a game you just kind of have to win. This is a game you have to win. You got to beat the Bucks at home. You just have to. Last year they had those pretty insane games. For entertainment purposes, I'd like to see a pretty insane game, but I want to see Penix able to push the ball to Drake London down the field vertically, and I want to see Bijan cooking. So,
I mean, realistically,
show me
Michael,
Atlanta.
Realistically, we're all talking about the Atlanta passing game. Realistically, man, they're going to be driven by their defense, which now they basically got rid of all their assets to beef that up in the draft with Pierce and Walker. Michael, they got.
I still love their defense, though.
They got talent. It's just Raheem Morris is a great defensive coach. It's just like his in-game management was
questionable last year. Yeah, it needs to get better.
And if Zach Robinson's supposed to be this
guru,
this offensive guru, we kind of need to see it. I do think we could see a monster Bijan game because I do think Bucks are kind of getting old. Mike Evans is old. Levante David is old. They got some age. I feel like they're always hurt. It's just they're never fully healthy. No Tristan Wirfs. That's big. Tristan Wirfs might be the best player on offense for them.
Right. Yeah, no, there's a lot of things not going the Bucks way that I just yeah. All right, next game we have to open up the 4:00 slate. We alluded to this. The Tennessee Titans are on the road against the Denver Broncos. this is a really, really tough spot for Cam Ward, who we both think is going to earnestly win. We believe he's going to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's good. I think Calvin Ridley's going to have a big season. I I think he's got like the right mentality for it. I thought he looked really good in camp preseason. This is just like such a brutal matchup. Like the Denver defense is very, very good with a lot of talent on all three levels. They just gave Benito that extension, signing Greenlaw and signing Hufanga. They have Defensive Player of the Year. Like there's a lot of good things going for that Denver D. And it's just I can't imagine on the road and Mile High against a good defense is an ideal situation for a rookie quarterback to be making his professional debut.
I also don't think their head coach Brian
Yeah,
Callahan, I feel
yeah.
like they're going to get a new head coach for
We'll
Cam
see.
Ward.
Yeah, we'll see as the year progresses. But
Like Callahan
I'm
got that job
mm,
because he made Jacob Browning look decent for a few weeks.
right. I'm gonna go with Denver. While I don't hate the Titans this season. I just think this is a very tough spot for them. And if the Broncos are good at anything, it's beating non-playoff teams. Last year, they did not beat a playoff team besides Kansas City when Carson Wentz was the quarterback. So,
I think this is the over's definitely gonna hit. I think Cam Ward's gonna play well for a rookie.
okay.
I think he's gonna play well, but I think the Broncos are gonna score a bazillion
It's a
points.
big spread. Denver 8.5-point
And
favorites.
honestly, Michael, I know how much you love Sean Payton. You're a big, you're a you hate his guts. He's gonna run the
He is
score. He's gonna run the score up on the
he is
Titans
a prick,
because he
so
loves doing that.
yeah, just an ass for sure. All right. NFC West matchup coming up next. The
Uh
San
oh.
Francisco 49ers
Uh
are on the
oh.
road against the Seattle Seahawks. The Niners are 1.5-point favorites, another home divisional dog situation. Dude, McCaffrey, I don't know about that calf, man. I don't know about the calf. All of a sudden, Juwan Jennings is
Fooled
healthy,
me
by the
again.
way, with the pay raise. McCaffrey, I don't love that news at all. While I do think the Niners are probably in the best position to win the NFC West with their very favorable schedule, I do think their roster has a lot to be desired to me, and probably against my better judgment, I'm gonna take the Seattle Seahawks at home plus 1.5. If this spread was a little bigger, I'd feel a lot more confident taking the Seahawks on the points, but, like, if San Francisco wins, they're probably winning by more than 1, you know? So,
I feel
it's
like
really just like, who
I
do you
do
think's gonna win
feel
the
like
game? I'll lean Seattle.
If Seattle's going to be bad this year, that they're going to lose their home opener, in my opinion, because no McCaffrey, no Ayuk. I think Shanahan's a good coach. I've been critical of him. I was critical of people said he was the best coach in football over like a bunch of other more qualified people. I think he is definitely a top 10 coach in this league. It definitely feels like there could be headed to divorce, but based off the fact, why is he on his last year of his contract?
That never happens. You never let that really happen.
Correct. I do think. I mean, who's going to be like Garendo? Oh, Brian Robinson.
If McCaffrey's like, yeah, yeah.
I mean, Brian Robinson does feel like a Mostert type player, especially in that
Yeah, but he's
scheme.
so much slower though. He's not nearly as fast as Raheem
Yeah,
Mostert was.
he kind of stinks.
Yeah,
Um,
so where are you going? I'm on Seattle.
I'm actually going to go against my better judgment. I'm taking the Niners. I'm going to kind of tell you why, and like an ugly slop fest, is because I think Robert Sala is going to make Sam Darnold see ghosts. I think, and Jigba's going to have a big game, and I think they're going to maybe cut him off, and he's just not going to know what to do. based off the fact that Darnold was playing there when I believe Saleh was still the D coordinator. Maybe he might have left. No, he wasn't there in 2023. No, they know Darnold. They got the scouting report on Darnold. He used to play there and all. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Niners.
All right. Next up, this is probably outside of the 8 o'clock game, the game of the week. The Detroit Lions are on the road against the Green Bay Packers. Newly reinforced Green Bay Packers with Micah Parsons at home. Detroit, the brain drain of losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Part of that brain drain is also losing Frank Ragnow. I think that's going to really hurt them as well. There's a lot of things. The Lions, to me, scream it's going to take a bit to figure it out. Are they going to go full 2023 Eagles on us? Maybe, but I don't think it's going to look the same way. The 2023 Eagles couldn't stop winning. It just looked like garbage, and then it all fell apart at the end. I think they can almost have an opposite where they're losing games. It doesn't look great, but they kind of find something and are on a bit of an upswing towards the end of the year. And maybe it's just, if it's not too little, too late for them.
I do think this is right. To build on your point too, that no one's really brought up. A lot of they're two of their best defensive players, Aleem McNeil and Aiden Hutchinson, are still coming back from serious injuries.
Serious injuries.
They're probably going to need some time to play to get back into full game shape. Right. I don't think Aiden Hutchinson's going to walk on the field and then sack Love 5 times. That is.
I'd be so thoroughly impressed if he's super explosive and looks better than Micah, that sort of thing. So
right, but I do think though with Green Bay, to me, is we did our pressure rankings. Shout out to my boy Zach Kovac for bringing up the pressure rankings, because literally 2 days later, the McAfee show had the exact same segment we did on the pressure rankings.
Bang!
I think Jordan Love's got the most pressure on him now. Now they added Micah, because now it's sort of you can't be mid.
It's go time. No, we had a little.
Put his big boy pants on. He's got to go play.
Super Bowl window. We ripped it open. It's time to win. We got 4 years to really get it done, and let's start now. I am taking Green Bay though. I think too many good vibes going their way. I think that kind of rolls into week one, and
I think
I think they're dying to put the
defense. They were soft last year.
They're dying to put Green Bay 1 in the power rankings. A 10-point win at home against the Lions, and a sloppy Bills Ravens. Green Bay's best team in the league. They want to do that really badly. So I'm going to take Green Bay.
I'm going to take Green Bay as well. We talk about LaFleur. LaFleur in the playoffs is not a good coach. LaFleur in the regular season, a lot of dubs, Michael. A lot of wins.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel, though, I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
I agree. I think it's a high-scoring game that it's a Micah Parsons strip sack kind of really turns the tide and is the weight of this game's kind of even, and then the strip sack, it's Green Bay's got it. Next game we have here, a very intriguing game. I'm very tossed up on this game. I don't think I want to bet this game outside of maybe some player stuff, because I don't know. The Rams are at home against the Texans. The Rams are 3-point favorites. The Rams are going to play Matthew Stafford. They're telling me he's fine. I find that so hard to believe, but they keep saying it.
Hashtags of
Stafford is dead. Yeah. I drafted Puka in fantasy, so I'm kind of going against what I
Stetson Bennett. It looks great.
It would be Jimmy G, man. Don't we trust
No, it's
Jimmy?
Stetson Bennett. No, not Jimmy
No, it
G.
is
He
not
sucks. He's so
Stetson
bad.
Bennett, dude. I don't know, man. Because like we know what we know about the Texans. We like the Texans are honestly one of the easiest teams to know what's going on. Their offensive line is horrible. The receiving room is like pretty good when their guys are healthy. CJ Stroud is very good. Their defense is elite. But how bad is the offensive line actually? Like the offensive line is terrible. Is it so bad that it is going to be very difficult for them to win any game? Is it so bad that they're only going to lose against good teams? Is it so bad they're only going to lose against good defenses? Is it so bad that, whatever? Is it not so bad and they're going to surprise us for like no reason?
I
I
don't
don't
know. I
know.
think
I
part of the
don't
reason the
know.
offensive line for the Texans was so bad last year is because Bobby Slowick was a horrible offensive
I mean,
coordinator.
John, their offensive line just sucks though. And then they traded Laramie Tunsil. Like it sucks. And they took away the only good player on it. It's horrible. Like, I think I gotta take the Rams and just kinda hope that Stafford's back is alright. Because if his back's alright, yeah, I think the Rams should be able to move the ball even against the really good Texans D, and then their defensive line, like, even if it struggles a bit against the run, their pass rush the Rams' pass rush is very, very good. Jared Verse
I'm taking
and
the Texans in
some
this game.
others.
I'm going to tell you why because we got to wrap this up for you because you got to leave soon.
Yeah,
Listen, Stafford's going to have to get the ball out quick because if he's going to hold on the ball too long, Will Anderson is going to
break his back.
finish the job that Jalen Carter started when he folded him like an accordion, which is probably
Yeah,
why his back is injured, right?
could be,
You
could be.
saw that play where
It's
Jalen
very
Carter literally
awkward it's an awkward
like
sack.
pancakes him,
It was very
flattens him,
awkward because
right?
he tried to duck it.
He
Yeah.
tried to exactly. So I personally think D'Amico Ryans is gonna D'Amico Ryans is like maybe the best defensive coach in football besides like a Fangio and yeah Minter. He's gonna blitz short zones because Stafford's just gonna check it off because he can't take any big hits.
And we listen,
If he is, he's insane. He's crazy.
which like
He could do that.
he kind of is. You know those
He
Detroit
plays
days.
fast and loose, with his body, and that's why he's like going to be in a wheelchair by the time he's 50 at this rate.
Yeah. All right, game of the week definitely Sunday Night Football. Baltimore Ravens in Buffalo to take on the Bills. I have to say, while I do think the Ravens roster is better, I do think it's probably a little disrespectful to not favor the Bills when they're at home. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the Bills are good enough that they deserve any home game they deserve to be favorites in. So I do think that's a little off. All that being said, I am going to take Baltimore minus 1.5. This is such a toss-up game. I really like. We've seen both of these teams blow each other out over the last few years, and we've also seen them play some slugfests. You know, two of the best quarterbacks in the league, two of the best teams in the league, two of the best contenders in the AFC, perhaps the top two contenders in the AFC. I'm gonna lean Baltimore. I'm gonna lean the better
Mm.
roster.
I think it's great for the Ravens to play them when the weather's not like putrid.
Super cold, yeah.
This is the perfect time to play the Bills, I think. I'm going with the Ravens as well. Michael, I'm going to shout out Zach again. He's listening to the show, by the way. I always joke and they bust my balls at work when I say Keon Coleman's bad because he can't get any separation. But Michael, it's true. Like what's Josh Allen? I mean, Josh Allen can
We
only
need
do
we need
so
a
much.
Keon Coleman breakout. That's what the Bills need because I like Khalil Shakir. I like him a lot. I think he's
I
quite
like him
good
as well.
actually. But
This Ravens team is like Zach. He's texting me right. He's like the Ravens are loaded. They look like they're
they are
they
loaded.
have the best roster in the NFL. I
They are
think.
loaded. Yeah, yeah, sure. If Keon Coleman can take a jump, the Bills' contention is significantly more intriguing, I think. It already is. It really already is. Like, if the Bills win 10 games this year and don't make the Super Bowl, it'll be the longest streak of winning 10 games in a row without making a Super Bowl. It'll be the eighth straight year, seventh straight year, maybe. So yeah, lot to prove. It'll be a good game. It's a good way to finish our Sunday, and then that takes us to Monday night. The Minnesota Vikings on the road against the Chicago Bears, another home divisional underdog. The Bears are 1.5-point underdogs against the Vikings. I'm taking the Bears. This to me, it's
Mm.
very, very similar to the Buccaneers Falcons game where it's like, listen, if the Falcons want to be serious and the Falcons want to be contending for the division, they have to beat Tampa at home. If the Bears want to be serious and want to contend for a playoff spot, you have to beat the Vikings at home. Like, you look at their division, you as the Bears, you're looking at the other three teams. The worst of the three teams is objectively the Minnesota Vikings. If you want to be contending in your division and contending for a playoff spot, you need to be able to beat them in your own place. Ben Johnson is a mastermind, apparently, and I do think he is very good at that. It'll be interesting to see if Caleb's ready to keep up with the speed that he wants to go at, if we're going to see it dumbed down. I thought Caleb looked pretty good in the preseason for what it's worth. I really like the receiving options. I think between DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and Colson Loveland and Luther Burden, there's a lot of intriguing, and Zacchaeus as well. There's a lot of intriguing receiving options for them.
Well, I'm going the opposite way of you.
I
I'm
know.
more intrigued by this Bears defense, how they're going to attack JJ McCarthy, because
That too. Yeah.
Jalen Johnson is one of the 5 best cornerbacks in football.
Mhm.
And look, I think like Jay Jettis is going to have a good game, but like you see what kind of like the Vikings offense, when they have bad quarterback play, it's basically we need to feed Jay Jettis the ball as much as humanly possible, because he's literally always open.
Well, it
Where last
works.
year, where you saw Darnold, like he was getting other guys involved, because he does have good arm talent. He just has the mental fortitude of like a mouse. I don't know. Like he just can't
Sure. Yeah, it's whatever.
process when there's
Right.
stress. He can't process it. So with that being said, I am gonna go with the Bears because I don't know, man. I think Kevin O'Connell's a great coach, but
Yeah, like how bad how
like
bad
JJ
is JJ
McCarthy,
McCarthy?
he's
Like,
making his first career start. This is his first career NFL
right,
start
it'll be like
in Chicago.
Kevin O'Connell is great, and I think he's capable of making many quarterbacks look pretty solid. But, like, is JJ McCarthy gonna be is he Zach Wilson? You know, is he that bad? Is he Darnold where it's maybe not so bad? I don't know. I really don't know. He's also coming back from a pretty serious injury. I don't know. It'll be interesting, and the receivers are banged up, so they had to go get Adam Thielen. Running back room is a
No
little
Addy,
older with Aaron
but
Jones, and yeah. So, well, we'll see. I am taking the
I think
Bears. You're taking the
obviously
Bears.
the chaos defense of the Vikings versus Ben Johnson's new look Bears.
That'll be interesting. We'll see. We know what Jared Goff can be like when the pressure gets a little dicey. We'll see if
Oh,
Caleb
Caleb Williams is
handles
a
that a
much
little
more
better this
dynamic
year.
quarterback.
Well, yeah, we'll see if he handles it a lot better. So, all right, week
Anybody?
1 preview in the books, everybody.
Right.
That is our show, and we can't wait to talk
We
about
will.
it next week. Might be tough because I will be going to Kansas City, so we might have to find some time perhaps to do the show. Maybe
Maybe we have to do a special Thursday edition or
maybe a special Thursday edition could be
or
in store
Friday.
perhaps, or
Me leaving for KC.
I'm leaving Saturday, so we're gonna have to work around it. It might even be a special Wednesday edition for Christ's sake. So
Oh boy.
we're gonna have to see. All right.
Anyway, thank you everybody for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day.
We are part of the Fired Up Sports Network of shows. Please check out other Fired Up Sports Network podcasts like the P-Lot Water Cooler Talk, Bell Smashers, Philly Sports Love and Pain, Drunk on Broad, Beer Battered Sports, and the Fired Up Sports Show, which are available on all major podcasting hosting sites and social media. Also, check out Mark Ramos' Roundup on firedupsports.com, which breaks down the happenings going on with all your favorite local teams.